Hello and welcome to another episode of the podcast for the recently deceased. This is episode 14, and as we say every week, our episodes are full of spoilers, so if you haven't seen these movies, turn away.
Yeah, it's kind of just a necessity. This is not a short review, spoiler-free review type thing. This is long format conversation with us just talking about two recent features that we watched, and with that is going to be getting into all the deets. So be warned.
And this week we had two good movies. I really enjoyed one, and I very much enjoyed the other. Um, I mean, they were
I mean,
they
it
were
sounds like you said the same thing.
I okay, so one I enjoyed more is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, yeah.
They're both great. The so we picked them because pornography was at the center, of the concept for the story for these
We're
films.
This is a demonetized episode, folks.
Yeah.
Not that we're monetized, but if we were, it would be. Because this is, yeah, we're dealing with pornography in both of these films. That's sort of the common thread. We've been very good at having double features that have similarities, whether it's through the way that they're shot or the subject matter. And so that's sort of the common thread between these two. But they both deal with it differently. But what I was mentioning with you right before we went live is that I think that they both need pornography to exist as a, we'll call it an art form, in order for their movies to have more weight or levity or for them to exist in general, because of what they're dealing with. So,
Yeah, very true. Wayne
yes.
would absolutely agree with you that pornography is art.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't seen X, you'll find out who Wayne is later. Okay, so we're gonna start with Porno, directed by Keola Rosella.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and according to the movie poster from the producer of Satanic Panic, who, if you saw Satanic Panic, was a great, you know, uh, like a B movie, but on an A budget kind of horror comedy. Um,
Yeah, I
uh,
never saw it.
it was good. It was good. It was just, one of those like solid sixes. Like
Yeah.
you might reference it once or twice, and it was pretty funny. It had Rebecca Romaine in it,
Okay.
as like the villain, which was fun. Um, so yeah, so we have Porno. We have a group of sexually repressed Christians, super
Mm-hmm.
Christian too, and I don't know if they said where this film took place, but
I don't think there was ever an actual town. No,
yeah, for
just
me,
a small
yeah,
Christian town.
yeah, for me they were like oddly Christian, like it must have been like a Bible Belt town, and like
Yeah.
and they just kind of left that out, but that's fine. Um, and it's definitely set in the 90s. Um,
Yes.
because the two films that they're showing at their theater is A League of Their Own and Encino Man. Um, yeah, both great movies in their own right. Polly Shore might not be your thing, but Gina Davis, probably is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, come on.
Gina Davis really is a puts me off.
Yeah,
Her head is so big and
you
her
know,
mouth is real wide. It just creeps me out. No, no disrespect here to or I just I think maybe she reminded me too much of my mother.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I mean, she kind of fell off the map after that pirate movie with Matthew Modine, I want to say.
Okay,
Um,
was she? She wasn't ever like a sex symbol though, was she?
oh, she definitely was in the 80s, wasn't she? She was in like all of
Like in
those
what?
The Fly. Um,
Okay.
then there was the one with they were aliens. It was Jeff Goldblum and Earth Girls Are Easy.
Oh,
Um,
sure, sure, sure. Right.
yeah,
Okay.
and they were. Oh, I mean,
All right.
they're all
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum movies. It was like, hey, let's get Jeff Goldblum to be the main guy, and they're like, okay, well, we definitely want Gina Davis in this picture
Right.
because she fits with Jeff Goldblum.
Because Jeff Goldblum's weird and eccentric, and Gina Davis, you believe that because it's
Sure.
I think that's what I'm going with.
All
Okay, at any rate,
right.
so porno, correct? Yeah.
Porno, yeah.
All right, so yeah, when five teen employees at the local movie theater in a small Christian town discover a mysterious old film hidden in its basement, they unleash an alluring succubus who gives them a sex education written in blood. I didn't read this before watching it. I just knew that we were going to watch it, so I just went straight ahead. Uh, I think that's a fine tag. It kind of
Yeah,
it's enough.
it definitely doesn't give too much away, especially since I also didn't read this before we watched,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, I think this movie's a lot like X, where these kids are trying to make a porno and bad shit happens. So
You
I'm
were
like,
wrong.
so I'm like 20 minutes in, I'm like, wow, I was way off.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think the thing about porno is it kind of just well, I don't know. The fact that that is the events, that's a good descriptor of what's going to occur in the screen. But
Yeah,
the way that they're doing it and the way that it unfolds is really what it's about, and the way that it handles all of that subject matter, as far as how in your face it is, how gory it is. This is definitely a graphic movie and a lot of unique ways that you don't see in a lot of current films. This came out in 2019. Is that right?
yeah,
Yeah,
2019.
2019. TVMA, not even R. I imagine because of the scene
Are
that we
gonna,
love. I
yeah,
love that
it
scene.
was a great scene. It was a great scene.
Yeah,
And this character, Heavy Metal Jeff,
love
who,
Heavy Metal Jeff.
yeah,
He
Heavy Metal
reminds me a
Jeff.
lot of Paul Rubens in Buffy.
Oh, sure, sure,
Like his
yeah,
look, like the hair's long, his eyes are kind of like recessed and a little dark.
yeah,
It had that kind of energy to me.
yeah, yeah. Well, there's a lot of '90s nostalgia in this movie, I think, and I mean, obviously they did that on purpose. Like I think we're kind of in a '90s renaissance right now. Um,
Hmm.
at least it feels like we are. um, and like with all the tape and the reels, and I mean
Yeah.
it was so awesome to see some of the things they saw in this they showed us in this movie, um, like the projector room and um,
Right.
yeah, for
Yeah.
me
Before
I
digital
yeah, before there was
and
nothing,
everything.
no cell phones, they get locked in the theater, they can't even call for help, or they don't even think to like pick up a phone. So,
Right.
So, we start with the um, the theater owner or manager, who's like this devout Christian, and I think, are they even like holding hands like in a circle, like doing a prayer right at the beginning? Um,
Well, I mean the very very first thing is that Abe and the other kid, who I can't recall at the moment, but we'll find out in a second. But Abe and
oh,
Todd are
are watching the
peeping
yeah, yeah,
into watching two people have sex, and
yeah.
it's pretty gratuitous. There's nudity right out the gate, and like they're just really getting into it. Sex scene, watching from the window, and it kind of pans out, and you see Abe really into it. Todd not so into it, or saying like, "We're gonna get caught. Let's get out of here."
Let's get out of here.
And
Yeah,
they peel out on their bikes eventually. They got to get to work, and you see a drifter sort of his hand or whatever in the street, and then we cut to the scene where where the manager of the theater is giving a bit of a prayer circle, and he starts going through and he names all the characters. It's kind of a neat way to introduce the characters, because he says something sort of a comment about each one, and you're kind of like, this is how you can like you know what to expect, or the backstory of each character
right.
without getting into a different way. Is fun, creative way to do it. I don't remember all the things he says, but the one that I thought was funny when he gets to Chastity, which is a great name in this Christian porno themed movie.
Right.
Uh, he's like, Lord, please let Chastity know that she does not need a ton of makeup to be respected as a new assistant manager or some shit like that.
Yeah,
It's like, and she like looks up like, what the fuck?
yeah. I know he's like, don't lose the keys, because the last assistant manager lost the keys, or so that something is going to happen to the keys, like he's setting that up.
Sure.
So
But
then
yeah, they're all there.
they're all there. They start talking about well, okay, so we actually get a lot of great character development in this movie. Um,
Yeah,
all these guys have their own kind of shit going on. Um, let me get their names here. Okay,
right.
so
We already went through
wow,
Abe and Todd.
right, we
They're
went
sort of
through
like the
Avatar,
closer ones.
right?
And then there's Chastity, who's often referred to as Chaz.
Chaz, yep. So then we have Ricky, who
Hmm.
we see right away is probably Chastity's love interest
Right.
for the film, and we can assume he feels the same way like right away. So we're like, okay, these two are gonna obviously be hooking up.
Yeah, there's like
Um,
shots of touching hands or like looks and stuff.
yeah,
And he just came back from being away. He just got back in
right,
town or something.
right. And then we have Heavy Metal Jeff, of course, who says that that's not his name. Every time someone says, "Hey, Heavy Metal Jeff," he's got X's on both of his hands. He's straight edge, and he
Yeah, yeah.
refers to it as my edge. Um, I'm
And
not
he's
gonna.
like, there's a scene where like Chastity scares him, and he's listening. He's like, she's like, you listen to heavy metal. He's like, it's not heavy metal,
It's
it's
hardcore.
hardcore.
It's hardcore. Yes, it's hardcore. And like when the scenes develop and the porn comes out, he's like, "I'm not gonna lose my edge for you." For,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
great.
so really good
His
stuff.
character, because he's so over the top and sort of obviously like the comic relief of it, but his performance is perfect with what is happening in the movie. Like I really liked it because it's innocent when it's supposed to be innocent. It's believable because they're all Christian, straight edge in theory, or like a morally compassed youths, and the way that they're all played and their progression through it is all very believable and convincing, and none of them are too hammy or cheesy or over the top. It's all sort of played not straight, but uh, normal and believable. It's like that part of the immersion for me. It was like, yeah, these are like this is what this group of kids do in this theater. This all seems natural to me.
Right,
It doesn't
right,
seem fake in any kind of way, which happens a ton with like a lower budget or smaller released horror.
right. Well, and a movie like this that is gonna be, it's not really like a bottle episode, but there's like three sets. It's like
Right.
the lobby, the theater, and the basement, and that's all you get for the or in the projector room. So you've got in the bathroom. Okay, so you got like five sets. Like they don't
Yeah.
go anywhere. They're in the theater the whole
Hmm.
movie. Um, so they're working. They pair off. They're moving around the theater,
Yeah.
and
It's Friday night. It's going to be the thing, and they just have to get through their work because they're going to hang out
they're gonna
after because Friday night is when they get to watch what they want to watch.
right. So the whole time they're discussing whether they want to watch Encino Man or A League of Their Own, and the manager is going to come back at midnight to give Heavy Metal Jeff a ride home. So we know the time. That's like the time limit, right? Like we
Right.
know that
Yeah.
the shenanigans or the hijinks have to end by midnight, or like that's like the parents kind of cut off for the film, right?
Hmm.
Um, so they're done, and they're gonna put the movie in, but they're in the lobby, and this crazy homeless guy is running about the theater,
Yeah. The
and
drifter that
the
was foreshadowed at the start is now in
yes
there, and yeah,
is
he's like sort of he's mumbling in the theater, and because Chastity's the ASM, she's the assistant now. Like they're
well
like, nah, you're gonna have to go deal with that.
right.
So yeah, he runs amok. He comes back out to the lobby. His shirt's now off, and he's even more crazy.
Yeah.
And he kind of runs through a a, a, a hole in the wall. He
Yeah,
creates a hole in the wall.
it was like a
And,
curtain that was
yeah,
covering a hole in the wall
covering.
that was boarded up, and he
Yeah, just
runs
simple
right through the
slats.
boards.
Right.
Yeah, and so now they've got to go find him in this abandoned basement section of the theater, which turns out to be another theater, right? In there, there's
Yeah,
like
like an
another
like an
projection
olden,
room. Yeah,
yes, a second theater where there's
Uh,
other screens. There's
yeah,
old posters which we're gonna see further into the movie. I don't think we see them all just yet. They kind
right,
of
right,
uncover more and more, and then they find and they sort of like start to look around and split up a little bit here, and they find that there's an archive. There's
Yep.
fire damage in this archive, and that's where they're like sifting through and just looking at look at all this crazy stuff, and they see a real case that sort of has a glow. I can't remember whose eye it catches. I think it's
It's
Abe's.
Abe. It's Abe. Definitely Abe. Yeah.
Abe sees it and he's like, "What is this?" And it's like the one item that isn't damaged by fire. It's a good reel, and so he is holding on to it.
Right. So they they don't find him. I don't think.
No, the hobo's
And
gone.
yeah.
Well, oh, because I think they hear
Oh.
noise, and that's what draws them back out.
Yep.
And then they run back upstairs, and the
To,
door's ajar.
the door is closing as they come up, so they assume he must have ran out.
They're
And
like, "Okay, so what are we watching?" Jeff's finally like, "Okay, what am I playing for you? League of Their Own or Encino Man?" And it's also hilarious that because they couldn't get the rights to these real films movie posters, they make their own movie posters in this, and it's just like a dumb like art of those two things. It's
yeah.
hilarious.
They also have two mannequins in the lobby. One that's like in the peach, the Georgia Peaches uniform,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
the other one that's like just like a long-haired
A
something.
cheap
Yeah,
caveman-y
yeah,
type
yeah.
thing.
Um, so what are we gonna watch? And Abe took the reel with him, and he says we're gonna watch this.
Yeah,
And Jeff's like, no fucking way am I playing that. Blah blah blah. They remind him that he has to do it because that's what the manager said. And you wouldn't want
yeah.
to. We'll tell him that you didn't play what we wanted, and you don't want to be a liar. They like Christian guilt him into
Hmm.
playing the film.
Yeah. And so it they cut to them sitting all next to each other in the theater with the beginning of this film, and it's you see cloaks, you see fire, you hear bells. To me, this like really started to feel like Suspiria with like the imagery and
Oh
just like the
sure.
ringing of the bell and sort of the crescendo like xylophones and wispyish. Goblin did the soundtrack in the original Suspiria, and like if you are throwing a Halloween party or any party for that matter, but especially around Halloween, just get that fucking soundtrack and play it, and it'll be the best party of your life.
Also, this film was excellently done. Like,
Yeah, it was awesome.
so the movie they're watching in the movie, I'm like, oh fuck, I would watch the shit out of this
This is
movie.
sweet. And
It's
does Chastity say like, is this an art film? Like someone
yeah,
asks, is
yeah.
this
So
an
there's
art
this,
film?
and as I'm, we're like, yeah, this is like horror art, like this is great.
Or like what RJ and X is saying, like this is artfully done pornography.
Pornography, right, right. Yeah.
Because yeah, you start to see does they get right into it? Right, they start to see uh, nudity. Like I think the
Right.
woman comes out and she starts to disrobe, and
And
Jeff
Jeff
cuts it.
kills it, just turns it right off.
Right.
Um, so it should be said at this point that during some of the conversations, it's been alluded to that Todd had some kind of incident,
Yeah,
um,
he did something.
did
He's like
something
on probation.
involving some kind of sexual act or perversion. We don't really know. We can
Right.
assume he was peeping, maybe, because that's what Abe and Todd were doing at the beginning of the movie. But they don't really get into specifics.
Right, and
Uh,
that's like the kind of the interesting thing too about the way that it's a Christian town and they're dealing with these kind of themes is that the way that these things are addressed in this community for the most part are sort of swept under the rug. We don't discuss this. It's just there. We don't acknowledge it. We this is what we are. This is what we're trying to do, and that doesn't you just you repress it and hide it and you move
right.
forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And that I mean that gets brought up again too, with one of the other characters. So they're having a huge argument about it in the theater,
Yeah, Jeff
and
says curiosity turns to obsession, and
yeah,
he's like he's the sage one that is always trying to put them on the right path of
right,
Christ.
yes. And then the movie starts up again, and Todd's missing, and
He
uh,
shouts something from the projection room. I can't remember what he says. It must be
yeah,
some. It's funny, but he's like more or less like we're doing this, and he
yeah,
turns it
yeah.
on.
And yeah, he locked himself in. So there it is. the movie continues, except this time I think it's just the three of them because Jeff is not going to watch. He's banging on the
Yeah,
door
he
trying
probably
to.
leaves.
Yep.
And there's like it's all the reds and blues, much like what's going on here, but more red and less pink. There's a minotaur in the
Moment.
scene.
Yeah.
There's naked butt. There's the girl.
Yep.
So like the man minotaur, his butt cheeks are hanging out. The chick as full bush,
Full frontal,
uh,
huge bush,
full
because it. Yeah.
frontal.
Yeah. um, yeah. There's definitely some dong when it like starts to chop up at the end, right?
Right, yeah, it's
They
like
just,
it glitches out almost
yeah.
like the screen that's doing its thing.
Yeah, and they sneak it
It's
in there.
but it's like the projector's actually like glitching out, is breaking. Something's happening, I think, with the reel.
Right.
Um,
Because he loaded it wrong or something, and
right.
so it ends with almost like this erotic dance of the female lead as she's covered in blood and she's just like
Hmm.
throwing blood all over the
It's like a
place.
ritual, you know.
Yeah,
You hear the bells ringing in it. They show the bells. There's bloodletting. I don't
there's a
know if she's
dagger.
running a knife on her body or if she's just getting dunked in blood.
Yeah,
But yeah, the dagger. It's all ceremonial things. The instruments, as we later find out.
right.
So
So
they all end up getting into the projection room.
yep,
Todd lets him in
yep.
because now Jeff sees the projector. He's like
It's
upset
like
because he broke it and he's got to
yeah,
fix it. And if it's broken, he's like, what's the manager's name? Mr. Pike.
right.
He's gonna what's he say? He's gonna explode my nuts
Yeah,
if this projector's broken.
yeah.
Just like his wording of it. It's just like what?
um, and some excellent foreshadowing.
Yeah.
um, So, well, let's see what happens next. We have, yeah, he kind of
There's like
goes.
yeah.
They all kind of split up again, right? Um,
Yeah, because Chaz and Chastity and Ricky kind of have some alone time, and she's like telling him how it's kind of shitty that she didn't get a letter from him because he's been gone. Like they don't explain. You're kind of getting a little bit more like what's going on.
right.
Even then, they don't talk about it. Just that he wasn't around, and it's like he didn't write, and she feels like slighted. I think he divulges that he met someone there.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
yeah,
Jasmine, I believe. And then he
yeah, that
has,
sounds right.
yeah, I think he says that he has a girlfriend.
I
Um,
think they went back downstairs, maybe in the archive,
right,
because the Abe and Jeff are fixing the projector, and I think they get it to fix. But this is where Chastity reads in the book. There's also sort of a version of a Necronomicon, more or
right,
less, down there, and she starts flipping through it, and she reads about the succubus because I guess that's just what page it was on, and starts
right,
describing the succubus, and she reads the passage about how the succubus is called and how you remove it, as far as gathering the instruments and saying
right.
the words, and it can only be
Be
destroyed.
destroyed
It can
in
only be
its
brought in with all of those things and destroyed in its true form.
true form. Right,
So you get that little exposition and necessity for future events, obviously, the foreshadowing with that.
right. Um, so what's gonna happen next is there
Next beat should be with Todd,
is
where he is seduced by the succubi.
right in the
Succubi or
hallway.
succubus?
I think
Succubus?
it's
Yeah. Succubus. Because if you
succubus.
say plural, would probably be succubi, right?
Right. Sure.
Which is weird because there's no S. All right.
Uh,
Anyway,
uh,
sorry.
that's all right. So it's in the hallway with all the old movie posters. He's walking down it, and it's all these porno flicks. So we know now this old theater used to be an old porno theater.
Yeah,
Um,
10-foot hole, 10-foot pole
10-foot hole,
is
10-foot pole.
is the
That's
one we're looking
the.
at.
And he's just walking down the hall, and he's checking out these movie posters, and then all of a sudden, she's there,
Hmm.
and she seduces him, but it cuts away right before there's any action.
Right.
Um,
I think she's like getting real close, and I think she might grab him or like go to grab him, or she's like taking off his belt or something
right.
of his pants.
Yeah.
And yeah, they get pulled away, and they see him in the hall, and they find him, and he
They
like
they find him passed out. They find him like passed out, and they think he pissed himself.
he's
And
like I don't. He says I don't think it's pee, man.
yeah, I think Abe says that. Uh,
Yeah.
So what's cool about this succubus is apparently um, she only kills you, or she only can kill you if you engage in the act, right?
Hmm.
And this is
Right.
why Todd doesn't die here, is
Hmm.
because of the premature ejaculation. It just knocked him out. It didn't kill him.
Right.
Um, which I didn't put together until like the end of the movie or near the end. I was like, oh, that's why Todd didn't die.
Right.
Um, because everybody else who dies kind of gives in, right?
Hmm.
Succumbs to her seduction.
Right. There's another one. There's all kinds of little one-liners in there. Someone says something about how someone's mom is dead, and I think Jeff or
Oh,
someone says like, "Prove it."
prove it. Yeah, Todd. Todd. They make a joke about Todd's mom. He's like, my mom's dead. And Jeff says, prove it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. There's a lot of dark black humor in it, like with everything, and it's just it's not intentionally like look at the screen and say the joke. It's just kind of in there. You either get it and appreciate it or you don't. And I think that's one thing that I appreciate, because when the comedy is just kind of woven in seamlessly, where it's either you notice that look or you notice that little quip, it's more rewarding to me whenever you do feel it and see it.
Right. I totally agree. The subtle comedy or comedy that's just like well written dialogue in a movie that's not necessarily billed as a comedy is just so much better than, that when it's like supposed to be a laugh insert here, we kind of wink at the screen and give a nice little
Right.
pause for the audience to laugh and recover, and that just seems, so disingenuous.
Right. So the weird thing, like a lot of things start to happen. They discover more stuff after this. They see more posters. They see the "Smoke 'em if you got 'em" poster with the
Right.
chick and the cigarettes. The
They see the
body
post.
exposed.
Right. Do they see like a newspaper clipping of the fire, or maybe being um, the theater being opened, like at a near a desk, and it's got like a couple guys at it, and then you're like, oh, those are the guys who own the theater, and they
I can't
reckon
remember. That happens at some point, and I
that
don't
happens at some
remember
point.
if it. Yeah, it happened at some point. I don't know if it's just yet or
I think
what,
it's
but they
it's
recognized.
I think it's definitely before the next ritual, the next part of the ritual, right?
Right. They see the drifter crazy guy as like one of the owners
As
of
one of
the
the owners
theater.
of the
Yeah.
theater, yeah.
They discover the bells that are in the leather satchel case that's in that archive room, so they're like starting to see some of the instruments that were in that one film that they were watching. And this is where Chastity sees Ricky as sort of a sexy baseball guy. He's got his eye black. He's got his
Right.
what was it polyester is what little league uniforms all wear,
Yeah,
but like I
yeah.
remember wearing it and it was like this the grossest stuff. But yeah, he's got all this stuff on, and she's drawn into it, and like I think she even puts her hand on him, but something breaks that interaction there also.
Right, right. And she like runs off and then
Hmm.
sees him in the lobby and screams because how can he be in two places at once? And so now
Right.
she's like something really fucked up's going
Hmm. She's like, "Oh, I saw you there. I touched your," and she like cut trails off
on. Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like you can't address those things.
Right. Um, I think they make their way back to the theater.
Yeah, the video is running because I think they're all in the thing. Weird things have happened now with Todd, with Chastity. It's awkward noises and things like that after the video, and I think they're up at and they're outside the theater, and they see the flashing of the screen, and so it's like the video is running now. The movie is running without them being in there, and so that brings them back into it. Um, that's technically, I think that's where they see the full frontal penis imagery is in that part right there. At least I took note of that because that's what I do.
Right.
Jeff says nope. He sees that and he's like, yeah, I'm not watching this.
Yeah.
And they all get to the office and discover that the keys are gone.
Right, right. Or
And
no,
this
no,
is then where
she left him in the door.
well, right, she left them
Right.
in the door because they locked
Oh,
the guy
they
out.
They go to the
And so
office
now
for the
they go
backup
back to the
parents.
door
Yeah.
and they're gone. They go to the office for the back pair, and the key box that the manager showed her earlier is now empty. And this is now where they start looking around the office because they're weirded out about what's happening in the theater, and they discover the locked cabinet, and inside it is a VHS camcorder.
Right. Right. Yes. Um, and they f- they find all these tapes. There's tons of tapes, and they hook up the camcorder to the TV, and they're like, "Well, let's see what these are." And
Hmm.
it's a woman coming into the bathroom and taking a pee.
Right. Mr.
And
Pike is voyeuristically watching the
the
women's
women's
room.
restroom,
Right.
yes. Um, and then they they set the. Do they hear him come in?
Yeah, I think they're starting to hear noises. I don't remember if they get locked in there or why they're in the office, but they can't. Uh, I'm not sure why they stay in there. Maybe they lock themselves in or they get locked in, but into the office. But yeah, they then discover the peephole that he
Right,
would set the camcorder on to of that bathroom,
right,
and so then they hear Mr. Pike show up, and he goes right to the restroom,
right
uh,
to that stall.
right to
And
that
now we're
stall.
watching through the peephole camcorder what's happening to him, and the
Yeah,
succubus
because
is
they set it
there.
up to recreate to see is this really what he did, and you see that that's how he laid it
Yeah,
in there. They have the video feed, and so they're watching it. The use of technology to like see how that's discovered. Because I remember like when we first got a camcorder, my parents had access to one or got one. I can't remember how it happened, but you'd plug in your AV and you'd connect it to the TV and you'd put it on mode, and you would like be like, "Whoa, this is cool as shit!" Like it's a fun exploratory thing. It's just
yeah,
neat, and it's something that is just so commonplace and easy because it's all in your phone. It's right here.
yeah,
So the idea of having video uh, as sort of this nostalgic new experience that these kids are exploring as they're working in the theater, I thought was really neat. So yeah, you see him go into the restroom, and then he's joined by uh, the succubus shows up. I can't remember what form she takes though.
I think it looked just like the succubus. It was
Okay,
her
yeah, the
actual
woman,
like,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, because
the
she
dark
sort of
haired
has
woman.
that like
Yeah,
feathery, pelty cloak, and then she probably
yeah.
took it off. And
But what's great about this is so they start to connect, and he's fallen for it, and so she turns him around and bends him over,
yeah,
and so
and you
like
see,
you're like, oh, that's what Mr. Pike is into.
yeah. Did someone say you're gay? Like Mr. Pike, you're gay? Like I can't remember. Uh, but
So
someone's like, what is going on?
so
Like,
this doesn't go on for
and yeah, they're
very
watching it.
long. This doesn't go
No.
on for very long before the so we get some sort of just blood explosion, basically across his chest, across the inside of the stall.
Yeah. Well, you see the demon hand on his
Oh,
chest, and
right,
then you
right,
see it disappear down, and then like he's like getting more worked up and more worked up, and then you just see the blood splatter.
yeah.
Hmm.
And then they all scream and they try to get out. And um, is this where he tries to like break the window with the turnstile?
Yeah, I think so. Where he's gonna. Right. Uh, Before they run out or as they're running out, you cut back and you see the succubus, and the succubus is just holding the penis of
Right.
Mr. Pike.
Yeah.
And she's just like she just ripped it off, and she's like holding it. It's like, yeah, that's a penis. Like it's a prop penis that she's just holding. She ripped it right off,
Yeah.
and he's dead. So yeah, they go back and they want to break the door down, but Jeff is like, no, 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 you can't just destroy the door.
Right.
Yeah,
And this is where it gets, even crazier, obviously. So like we've seen the first murder now, and Chastity's kind of putting things has put it together at this point. Um, I think they make their way back to
yeah.
the theater again.
Well, they're around there, and this is where the highlight scene is going to take place. Like Jeff talks to them, and he mentions here the I don't think he mentioned it earlier. He might have, but he has this mantra, the CBTL, Christ bears the load,
Christ
and it's
bears the
sort of
load.
like whenever there's something you have to persevere, you just know that CBTL, like let Christ carry that for you, or that he's there to support you in your time of need. And if you just focus on that energy, I think they're all still in the general
The
lobby
lobby again.
because this is now where Jeff sees the succubus, and this is where we have our scene. The succubus appears to Jeff as the poster for the film that we saw downstairs, the "Smoke 'Em If You Got 'Em." Like at first, she just tries to seduce him in her regular robe thing, I think,
Uh,
and he's like, no, CBTL. Like I think he might say it. He might say Christ praise the
yeah,
Lord. He's like, nope, you're not gonna get me. I've done too much. I'm too
yeah,
hardcore for
yeah.
that.
I'm not gonna break my edge for you.
Right. And so then she transitions, and he's a former smoker. That was also one thing that was mentioned earlier. He
Right.
freaks out because he runs outside the back door when the kids are smoking. He's like, I smell cigs, and he freaks out. He takes him, he throws him against the wall.
Yeah.
Uh, so she shapeshifts into that art from the poster where she's got a leather jacket and she's got two cigarettes,
Yeah.
and she's just smoking, and he's like, no, don't do this. Like
Yeah.
he's combining everything, and then she opens the jacket a little bit to expose herself, and she's just smoking. And he's like, no,
Yeah.
no, and he fights it,
Yeah. He does
and then
successfully fight it.
and that's what causes what she does
You're
next.
right.
If you want to describe it for
Oh,
us,
sure, sure, sure. You hear like an explosion combined with like a pop, and he just like hunches over and grabs his nuts and just screams at the top of his lungs. And then you can see her in the background, and she just has her fist in the air like this, like
yeah,
she did that, and then
yeah, she just closed her
yeah,
fist, and you hear this awful noise, and he crumples.
yeah, and then she does it again, and now he's on the ground, and she exploded his nuts.
Yeah,
She
she leaves, I think, after that, and all the
yeah,
kids
she's
come out
yeah, and he's like,
to
she
help him.
exploded my nuts, and so Ricky,
Ricky, yeah,
Ricky
Ricky. They're like, well,
does
we need a tourniquet, and I'm
Rick,
like, this isn't gonna be like, what do you're not gonna tourniquet anything. Like, I don't think anything's gonna happen because but they start showing a shot where you see blood stained crotch,
yeah,
and then you see, okay, we're gonna take off the pants. I'm like, okay, the boxers are all red. I'm like, we're not gonna. Oh, they're taking off his boxers now.
yeah,
Oh my god, what am I seeing?
yeah. Okay, so we have like actual practical effects. There's two testicles with connected, going back up in, and then the sacs are busted open. The penis is there, like,
Yeah,
and
just
he's
flaccid
got
laying there.
yeah, he's like, I need some string.
He's like touching him and just manipulate him. Like he takes a ball and he like tries to like set it back in the void that used to be his sack.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god! Like I'm squirming, but I'm cracking up laughing
Oh,
when I'm watching it because it's so fucking great.
this scene is amazing. The scene is amazing, and
Because
yeah,
no
he
one ever does it this like in your face, practical, and just like casually. Like this is what's happening.
yeah, like his nuts blew up. They have to do something. They have to apply some kind of first aid. So yeah, so he gets a string and he wraps it around, and he ties it real tight. And for the rest of the movie, Jeff is like hobbling and like
Yeah.
super pale. They extra made him extra pale looking, and
Yeah,
he's like,
he tightens it and he's like, oh,
yeah, yeah,
and he ties it like shoelaces. It has like the bunny
yeah.
ears and everything.
Yeah, it's that. Yep, exactly.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's a
So that was
great scene.
hilarious.
Okay, so we've got to be coming up on the ritual part two. I think this is where they go back to the theater, and I think the old man is there, or does he somehow
Uh,
does he does he trap chastity?
I
I
think
can't
there might be like
remember.
a small break here, because this is where Abe goes to the glory hole, and then they're going to the theater. Because this is where Abe is now taken into that other dimension, or like things happen, or because he does the glory hole scene, right?
I think that's like the very end, right? With Abe and
Or
Todd.
they're going to the theater, and then the drifter sees. Yeah, I mean, there could be something that's happening there. Let me
Well,
try to remember.
because the drifter's finale, like his he finishes the ritual or whatever, that happens before the end, or is that the end? I
That's like
can't
right
remember.
before it,
Yeah, I
right?
can't. Okay, okay. So it's right before
And
the end.
plus,
Yeah.
also like Todd disappeared, right?
Right.
They don't know. They don't have Todd anymore, so
Well,
it's just
there
Ricky.
was a portal, right, that they ran into.
Portal.
Yeah, wasn't there like
Yeah,
there's
there
a
is a
portal.
vaginal portal. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I think that's after
and that's what put Abe and Todd and Rick
Jeff,
uh, Jeff into the right
because Ricky and
into
Chastity are the ones that end up needing to
that
save
end up
it.
needing
And
to kill the right.
right,
Right.
but Todd disappears, and so that whenever they go back into the theater, Todd's now like shackled up with
Right.
the crazy
With the
old man.
crazy old guy who's trying to
Hmm.
right, and I think it's
To
like
call.
yeah. It's after
Yeah,
the
well, this is all happening, but yeah,
yeah,
this is like the next thing that's happening, the next beat.
right.
There's a scene with Abe in the glory hole, and I can't remember how it fits into stuff, like where he goes and he has his like his sexual experience with the succubus.
Right.
Yeah, because
His
she
near
pukes
miss.
into his mouth. Remember?
Right.
She pukes blood into his mouth,
Yeah.
like, and it's like long stream, just
Yeah.
going, and then they find him and they pull him out of there.
Oh right, because he was just going for it. He there was no resisting
Hmm.
for Abe. Yeah.
No, no, yeah, he fell right into it
Yeah.
and just let it happen. So yeah, they
Oh
go to the theater, and that's where the guy is doing the ritual to bring the succubus out, because he's like, it's this theater, and this is what he has to do. So he's got all the things, and I think he starts cutting up Todd, right? Like, because he needs the blood.
well,
He starts
he cuts
drawing
some
the
he cuts some symbols on on his own bare chest. Then he cuts some symbols on Todd.
right,
Um,
and then that's what brings the succubus to full
right.
existence in their
And
world. Is the idea?
it explodes him, right? Like it grows like out
Yeah.
of the old guy.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
She is birthed out of his body,
yeah.
and then
Which
that's
that
where
was great.
she I think she takes them into she like causes the vaginal portal, uh and she takes them into it, I think.
Well, she takes Todd, and then the other two run in after Todd.
Right. And it's like sort of like, and they're transferred into this like theater of the past,
Yeah, or like
uh
alternate dimensional
seemingly.
theater. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Where they like
They look trying
they
to run
try to
out, they
leave.
can't run out.
They try to leave, and it's
Yeah.
like all the townspeople like look at the door and start screaming with their
Hmm.
eyes glowing, and then they all explode.
Right. They all explode.
Yeah,
So they're like stuck in there.
but they need to get
Yeah,
Todd.
sort of
They
like a
need to get
weird.
Todd out of there, and Todd is the villain of the alternate world. Like he's possessed by some kind of
Yeah.
other demon, right? He's not Todd
Hmm.
anymore. So that's what they need to do is to fight off this demon and get with real Todd back to reality where Chaz and Ricky are, because Chaz read the book. They have to get the demon or the succubus into her true form so that they can kill her. Um, so they have Ricky, who has yet to have an encounter with the succubus, um, have
Hmm.
his encounter with the succubus.
Yeah, he calls for the demon, and I think Chastity's hiding in like the right outside the stage, because it's sort of like a normal theater stage where there is a actual height to it, and she's like in front of it, cowering or waiting for something to happen. So everything that Ricky's doing with the succubus, as he tries to call it, is going to happen up there, and she's not watching, and which is to his benefit because he wants to continue what's happening there.
Right.
Uh, and I think
So
that's more or less it. Where like I can't remember, how does it appear? Does it appear as
it
a
appears as a slim but kind of muscular dude with a mustache, like a
yeah,
sexy hipster dude. Um,
right?
and so Ricky, gets to go to town, as he's been repressing, his gay
Hmm.
feelings, this whole
Yeah,
time,
and you
and
don't see any
obvious.
of the setup, but you start to see him uh, um, thrusting into the succubus, who's personified through a male's body, and
Right.
he's just like having sex, and Chastity's like waiting, like, "Are we ready?
Yeah.
Are you good to like? Are we ready
he's
to
like
do
he's
this?
like
Like,
he's
we
like
got to do it
just
now."
another minute.
Yeah, just wait, just wait. No, you gotta wait, just wait.
Yeah.
It's just
And
delaying it because
he's got the knife like tucked into the back of his like
the back of his
trousers.
boxers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, and
because she
then
has to
okay,
ring the bells to have the succubus appear, and so she's like, can I ring the bells?" And he's like, "Not yet, just wait, because when you do that, then it'll finish the ritual, and the succubus will be drawn out
right.
in the true form."
So then it's cutting back to the alternate reality where they're fighting with
Yep,
Todd, and Todd's
Abe, Todd, and Jeff. Yep.
yeah, Todd's kicking their ass, but then Abe kind of does this. I know you're in there, Todd. I know it's really you, that kind of thing. And
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that works, right? They get him out of there
Yeah.
somehow. I know that
I don't
like
remember if it happened right then,
I know that
but yeah,
Abe
they.
definitely like confesses that like you're my best friend, and like I'm sorry that I didn't have your back because Abe
It was
revealed to
Abe was
Chastity
doing the peak.
that
Yeah.
it was his fault that Todd got caught doing this bad thing, um,
Hmm.
and that that Todd's his best friend, and that he was really sorry, and he's like, I'm a shitty friend, you're the greatest guy, kind of moment. And
Right.
so Jeff and Abe and Todd come back to the real world, um, and what do we have
So
here?
Chastity rings the bell,
She gets tired of
and
waiting. She doesn't actually even wait
yeah,
for the
I
signal.
don't know if Ricky gets to finish, but so now the succubus is out, and yeah, he doesn't because he's like, "What? No!" And like the succubus turns, and now she's got her horns and her kind of makeup. It's a pretty cool creature-ish type succubus thing. Um,
Yeah, I like
and she
the
starts
black
attacking, and this
arms.
is the only part where the movie took me out for a split second because the battle now with the succubus mounting Ricky, and she's slashing at his body, kind of like doing these big broad swipes at his chest and everything, and he's obviously half naked. This is where they start to use CGI blood
Yeah,
on these attacks, where it's like you just see like dumb splatters here and there that are
yeah,
all digital, and it's just like you didn't have to. You did all this awesome practical stuff. Just do something stupid practical. Squirt a GD pump of just
yeah,
red goo flying. Like, it would be so much better. It
yeah.
would make sense. But they didn't. They used the CGI stuff, and so whatever.
It
They
was
probably
it.
shot it and didn't have the practical, and then when they watched it, it doesn't look like she's doing anything. She's just
Yeah.
swiping at nothing, and so they were like, "Well, it's too late.
Let's
We have
add
to."
some stuff. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was definitely the weakest scene in the
It
movie,
was
I
the
think.
only. It was the
Yeah,
only moment. Everything else all made sense. It all fit. It
yeah.
all looked great. This is the only thing that looked off, but it's what happened. Um, and it they somehow they trap her back in the film. Like they do end up getting to stab her,
Yep.
and they
But
have like it like an ecto trap more or less from Ghostbusters, where
right.
they needed the vessel, the container, and it's the same film canister as before. They have all the things. I think they what did they use? They needed to burn the film, or they had to have fire on it, and that's what Jeff or someone used that. But
I know they tried to burn
they
it
stab her.
earlier. Yeah, they stab her, and her soul kind of just goes in there, and the canister closes. And yeah, I think it wraps
And
pretty much
yeah,
there.
they go back to the lobby. They finally throw the the thing through the window. The what are
Right,
those things called?
the turnstile.
Yeah, throw it through the window. Makes a really cool, gratifying noise. Like, it's like shot like where it's like, yeah, they really just threw an actual heavy ass turnstile through a glass window, and it broke and sounded like that heavy thunk 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 of the steel, like you could picture if it
Yeah,
was a real one. And then they start walking on the street, and Jeff's limping aside of them, and they're just walking downtown, and that's the credits.
yeah,
It
and
was super fun.
yeah, super fun movie. Yeah, I really liked it. There's not a lot bad to say about it besides that that one CGI blood sequence is
Yeah, it
really
just didn't look good. Like, there's not a lot of subtext or things to get into. It's an entertaining the use of religion with the pornography and the movie theater. Like, there's something. I guess the idea is, there's wholesome characters, and I think that's necessary with this kind of film because usually you would have like what a group of kids and like they'd be like the jock, the cool girl, the preppy kid, or like the nerdy kid. There'd be those
yeah,
roles, and I think the fact that they're all wholesome Christian based teens, the innocence of that and um, the hidden sides of them, that they can't be their true selves all the time, like they have to keep something closeted about themselves just because of the nature of how certain things about who you are as a person you can't show those communities all the time, depending on what kind of denomination or the kind of Christianity area that you're in. Sometimes things are welcome and some things aren't, and so historically not, and they're repressed and you don't talk about it. So yeah, it's, I can't remember when it's vocalized, but yeah, Ricky was at a gay conversion therapy camp to try to get him out of that.
right.
And so, and then yeah, like what Abe's hiding because for Todd, it's all that stuff is there and makes you care more about the characters, and that's what was fun about it because it's just a silly succubus story, but it had a neat setting. It all thematically well fleshed out with the set pieces that were there and kind of interactions that the characters have. It was just a fun, good story, and it was the cinematography and the way it was shot was pretty beautiful, uh,
Yeah.
for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, take a kind of wacky, stuck in a theater with a succubus concept, and throw in some really, really good character development with some interesting characters that are atypical, right? We don't see these types of characters all the time. They're not your horror movie stock, as you were saying,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Right.
yeah, the end result is just a solid horror comedy, and it was at times it was like a dark comedy, but for the most part it was just it was a little wholesome while still being like about
The most perverse stuff that you would see on
yeah,
film, like to see a nut mutilation scene depicted like that, as for the most part unheard of. You don't even see that kind of this gore in like a Saw movie
right,
with certain
right, no,
things.
yeah,
At
I
least
mean,
with
so
genitalia.
right,
I
so the
mean,
next,
Jesus.
yeah, we're about to talk about X, right? And like, I mean, X had some great kills, but X didn't go there.
No, it did not. Uh, and I mean, it couldn't when you think about the kind of film it is. Like this probably could because, and that's the other thing too. This movie is very ballsy. I'm gonna say that. It's called Porno. Like you can't. You have to be careful with how you look for this movie because like I'm like, oh, I need uh, this porno. I'm gonna Google search porno movie. Like wait, no, I can't search porno movie because I won't get the results I'm looking for.
to,
This doesn't make sense. Like
to to make the splash screen, I searched porno movie box cover, and I went to images, and there was not the box art I was looking for in that Google image search.
yeah. And so, like, as a filmmaker, he could have called it whatever, but I feel like this was where his artistic freedom, he's like, this is what it's going to be called. It's referential to, like, the how taboo it is in these sort of religious back type areas where, you know, you're not meant to covet the flesh, and
Right,
sexual
right.
desires in general are so not discussed, and so just put it out there and this is what it's called, and it's about it but it's not, was I think a cool choice to
I
see someone just like confidently say like this is what we're going to call it.
I also like how, I mean, we grew up in the 90s, so when you were a teen and you found a tape that was unmarked, the first thing you did was this is porn. I have to make sure that this is porn. Like,
Yeah.
like I am
Right.
playing this tape. Like so, Abe finds this reel in the archives, and I have to know what this is. It's
Right.
unmarked. They go in, they break, they're in the manager's office. They find his tapes. Oh, we have to know what these are. We have to play these tapes. Like,
Right.
so
And it's cool how
that's
they reveal it because they just play it in the camcorder and they look through the eyepiece to
yeah,
see what it is.
yeah.
And like you see, I think I can't remember who watched the whatever, but then Chastity sees it and she's like, "Oh no!" Like
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah.
yeah,
So
great
that
reactions.
was a very cool kind of throwback to being a teenager in a time where technology was not what it is today.
Yeah, I know. I found my older brother's VHS, and so whenever I knew he wasn't gonna be around, I knew where he hid it. I'd go
Yeah,
get it. I'd play it, and I'd have to remember where's this paused
yeah.
because I need to fucking rewind it
But
right to
right
that
to
point so
that
that he
point.
doesn't know that I was watching it.
Yeah, I actually got so good. Maybe it was my advanced or not advanced VCR, but you could reset the tracking timer so you put it in, you reset the track timer to 0, play the tape, do whatever, get it back to 0, and then just eject it,
Yeah, yeah,
and you're good
yeah.
to go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was the old trick. Now it doesn't even matter. I've got a
I
phone,
know,
I've got a computer,
I
I've got a
know.
laptop. You know,
The struggle is just not the same.
it's not the same, and it's not as rewarding either, in my opinion. But
No, yeah, I'd have dial up and I'd be trying to see images download and I'd see like,
yeah,
pixelation and then slowly the
sure,
resolution would like get on this bar and then this bar. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
now I'm seeing a little bit something there. Okay, keep it going.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, and
That's hilarious.
nobody who's not our age understands the struggle of waiting for that Gillian Anderson photo to load.
I know. I remember my one friend in high school was like, hey, oh, hey, print me some Gillian Anderson stuff. I'm like, I'm not printing Gillian Anderson. But like, that was what he was asking for. Everyone
So
was like,
that's just what it was. She had more websites than any person in history.
oh, really?
Gillian Anderson tribute sites. She's like,
Man.
yeah, it was a thing.
Yeah. I didn't watch it, but she was in a series, and I remember I watched the first episode or two. She was in a recent ish series where she plays a detective, not FBI. Maybe it was, but she's a private investigator or something, and she shows up to help with another branch of government police. And right away, she like sees one of the younger cops or whatever, and she's like, "Hey, you!
Oh
I'm at
right.
this hotel, room 320. I'll see
Yeah,
you at 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock or whatever." And she's just like putting it out there, like, "Yeah, you're gonna come to my room tonight. I'll
yeah.
see you then."
And
I
he
was like,
did.
Jesus. Yeah,
He did.
like fucking
Uh,
Gillian Anderson.
um, So,
So what are you giving Porno?
porno. I struggled. And I have to give it a six.
Okay,
6 out
speak
of
your
10.
truth. That's fine.
6 out of 10.
6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. Good movie, worth the watch. Will I watch it again? Probably not.
Um, so I want to give it a 7. I don't think it's fair to other movies. So I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I'm giving it a 7.
I, I
I
was
enjoyed it.
I was
I can't fault it for anything. And I will rewatch this and if I want to have a laugh and like see dumb graphic stuff, like it's fun. For me. So I'm
right.
gonna yeah, I'm giving it a 7.
Well, also I should say to check out Satanic Panic if you haven't seen it. So,
Yeah, I'll have to put it on my list.
all right, time for the main event.
True dat. I mean, we're getting there.
Yeah. All right. X, written and directed by Ty West, A24. Man, I love these guys.
Produced.
I feel like I love everything they put out. If it says A24, I'm going to see it. I'll probably own it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, what was the
I will definitely be buying X when it comes out.
for sure. Was Lamb the last A24 film that we talked about? I don't think there
Uh,
was another one between it, was it?
no, I
Was
don't
there?
think so. I don't think so. I
Okay.
think it is
Uh
that might have been the only one we've done.
yeah, well, because when the films that we've talked about that have been not new releases have been ones that are related to a different new release, whether through the people that made it or something like that.
Right.
excuse me. And so yeah, none of them in A24 because there's a lot of Shutter exclusives and things like
Right.
that. So yeah, this is our first new release A24 that we're
Yeah.
talking about. And yeah, it's as
It
far as a company, like I love their stuff.
Yeah. It just came out last Friday. If you haven't seen it, go see it. You got to go to theaters, guys. In 1979, a group of young filmmakers set out to make an adult film in rural Texas. But when their reclusive elderly hosts catch them in the act, the cast find themselves fighting for their lives. A very ominous um, intro description there. Uh,
Yeah, I didn't look up a whole lot. I didn't watch a trailer for it. I just knew that it was coming out. Knew that it was. I knew it was slashery. Knew it was Ty West. Knew A24. Saw the posters, and that was all that I
Yeah,
knew
same,
about it.
same. I
Tried
knew
to
it
avoid everything
was.
else.
I knew they were shooting a porn, and I knew that they. I unfortunately heard somebody say somewhere that they classified it as a slasher. I wish I could have avoided that, but that's totally fine.
Yeah, fine. And then, so it just had premiered at South by Southwest the week prior to this last one that we saw it,
Right, right.
and it was one of the highlights of the event. People talking about X and how it was just blew everyone away. Started to get amazing reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. I saw that it was high acclaim, 100% long time ago. Like one or two negative reviews came in to bring it back, and I think it's at a 96 as of our streaming today with an
Yep.
audience score of 77.
77.4 on IMDb, which is very respectable for a horror film. Horror does not
Hmm.
usually get above a 7. It's usually in the sixes. Even great
Yeah,
movies are in the sixes. So a 7.4 is super solid.
yeah. So, I mean, overall impressions are
So
extremely positive, right?
yeah,
For
yeah,
us.
yeah, great. Like first thing I notice is that this movie looks like it was shot in 1979. And
Sure.
through the whole film, I could do nothing but feel like I was watching Friday One or Texas One or Halloween
Hmm.
One. It truly captured that late 70s. Um, not even early 80s. Like early 80s, they had already kind of transitioned into 90-minute cookie cutter slashers. This is the formula.
Right.
So late 70s, they were still really exploring it and like creating the genre, and that's what this felt like. This didn't feel cookie cutter at all to me. This felt very new, um, but at the same time, it it fully reminded me of the first time I had seen those older movies that define the genres.
Yeah, it is paying homage to a ton of what came before it intentionally. It's it's self-aware with a lot of what it's doing. A lot of his choices, Ty West's choices, and the rest of his production team. They know what they're trying to say and how they're going to play with what people see as how horror should be filmed, either making fun of itself or highlighting the beauty in other parts of it and how it can be done, and to a heightened effect and extremely well executed and well crafted from just every part of it, in the cast especially. So like the direction, but yeah, the cast in this felt just like you said, like a late 70s, like where the characters that they played just seemed uh sort of like horror tropey, like with a certain role or a certain look, but the way that they develop them in the story is sort of like in a modern lens, all unique, and it kind of subverts your expectations with how you would perceive them, where you usually see them as doing bad or inappropriate things, which in this film they're shooting a porno, so it's like that lens of they're doing something sort of taboo or as outsider art, which horror was a part of, and that idea of it is also an amazing thing to just chew on. The fact that they're
Right.
doing this bad thing, but they're all really sort of not the same as the Christians in porno, but they're good, wholesome people. And by the middle of it, whenever you have that amazing moment happen about halfway point, right before the things start to heighten up, it's like these are awesome people and they're just good, like living life and enjoying life and celebrating life in the way
Yeah.
that they see fit, and you have to respect it and you have a better appreciation for it. And so everything that's going to happen, you're like, you don't want, you feel bad. Like
Yeah.
it's such a weird play with what they're doing, how they're doing it though, and how you feel about them with the way that they talk about
Yeah.
what they're doing.
Just as we said with Porno, the character development in this film was excellent. It made you care. It invested you right away. It's literally what we talk about every week, how modern horror ignores this thing that both of these movies did, that the modern horror movie totally ignores and is the reason that it's flop after flop after flop, as opposed to, these like home runs like X.
Yeah. So I think there's just so much to relevance to what it's doing and how it's doing it that we could just go on forever about it. Like
Right.
we're gonna highlight some things through it. Like this is I didn't take notes because I'm in the theater and I didn't feel like it. I just wanted to experience it and have fun, and I knew that it was gonna be memorable, that we'd be able to pick apart. So we're gonna go through and
Yeah.
try to do plot by point like we usually do, but we're gonna digress into all the things that are beautiful or fun or unique about it.
Yep. And I'm gonna have probably 2 or 3 points of things that I didn't like because I like to nitpick. But that is, once again, it's nitpicky, and it is 3 things, and one is right in the beginning. So we start
Oh,
off.
okay, okay.
One,
So
or not in the beginning, as in the backstage. The beginning as in
okay.
on the road. So
Brilliant. So let me get into the very, very beginning then,
yes, the
that
very very
I
beginning.
like, because here's the like and a dislike or a question. The very, very, very beginning. This film starts off with a shot of the police car arriving at the residence that they're going to be at. The the sheriff is arriving on scene, and this right from the start of this film, I knew that I was in for something because it's intentionally shot within a barn that's across the way, but they're framing it so that you see it's letterbox film, like it's a modern film with a letterbox aspect ratio, but there's black bars here to simulate the action on screen of like a 4:3, as if you're seeing it on television, or you're referencing the fact that they're making a film for people to watch at home, because that's going to be happening. People are going to be having this in their own, be able to see it whenever. Uh, so that 4:3 aspect ratio is there, and then when the sheriff gets out of the car, it starts to slowly pan. The black bars go away, and the black bars were just, it was the doors to the barn that they were shooting from within. And I thought that was just a really cool little nod to like, we know what we're doing. We're seeing this ratio. You're thinking about watching it in that kind of a setting, but now you're into the film, and I love that. So I have to mention that because there's those little notes that make this film special,
Oh yeah.
that are really rewarding when you can pick up on them. And so then it gets to the main scene where you see the sheriff. He's looking at carnage in the road. He gets into the house. There's more bodies. Someone calls him to come downstairs, and they get a slow pan up to a horrific thing that they're looking at, and that's all that you see. It cuts to the next scene. How do you feel about that being the opening shot, the opening scene of the film?
I thought that was
They cut
fine.
to then 24 hours earlier.
24 hours earlier, and I thought that was okay. Like now, normally stuff like that either gives away too much or Um, yeah, I guess that's just it. It just gives away too much, and it feels kind of lazy. Um, in this, they did it in such a way that I think I gleaned no information. Like I didn't see a face of a single character besides,
Right,
right? Like I didn't get a total body count. They didn't show us what was in the basement. Um,
right.
people died, and people are gonna die. Like I think they did it in the best way you could do something like that. So
I
I
think for
I
me, it's
liked it.
like something that I dislike a little bit because all that it was frustrating. I like the idea of it, but I don't like seeing. There's one, two, I saw three bodies because I
Right.
saw three tarps, and it's like so. Then whenever these scenes start to unfold later in the film, I'm like, who's it going to be that's going to be right there?
You're gonna
And
start
I
subtracting.
couldn't shut that off. And my stupid fucking brain was thinking
Yeah,
about what I saw. And I'm like, wait, okay, so who's going to be this? Or I know what to expect. Two people are going to die here. One person's going to die. And it's just, I couldn't shut that part out when after I'd seen it. And so I was like, a little bit like, all right, I know that what to expect a little bit. I feel like it ruined a little bit for me.
sure.
Um, but I like the reveal for them, which I also don't think kind of like I don't think it owned up to what it presented with their reaction from the beginning. So, anyways, so I started. So let's go to the next
So
scene where
next
we have we're
scene,
24 hours earlier at
24
the
hours
Bayou
earlier,
Burlesque.
Maxine is backstage and she's doing a little cocaine. And Wayne's in there. Wayne comes in and they have a little chat. It's a nice chat, and you know that they're familiar with each other, and you're not quite sure what their relationship is just yet. Um, they talk about her future. He's gonna make her a star. They're gonna make all sorts of money. And does he tell her to lay off the cocaine too? I think he's that's how he
Yeah, yeah. I
opens.
think he
That's how he
says you
opens
take
it.
it
He's like,
easy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's how
you
he
got to take it
opens
easy on
that
that
line.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he leaves, and she does another line and says, "You're gonna be a fucking sex symbol in the
Hmm.
screen or in the camera," and then it cuts to do they load up the van or do they
Yeah, yeah.
already?
They
Yeah,
walk right out because
yeah,
the other guys are waiting for them.
yeah,
So they head out the door. Yeah.
yeah. So we get introduced to pretty much all the main characters at this point. Wayne, Maxine, Lorraine, played by Jenna Ortega, who was the younger sister in Scream 5.
Hmm.
Um, Mia Goth plays Maxine. Bobby Lynn, played by Brittany Snow, which I thought
Yeah.
was crazy that Brittany Snow was even
Yeah.
in this movie, especially in this role, and she fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
Just
Southern accent.
oh, I loved Brittany Snow in this movie. And if you don't, if I'm saying that name and you're like, who is that girl? It's she was in Hairspray and all the Pitch Perfect movies. So
Right.
to be in this, it was weird. And now and Jackson is played by Kid Cudi, who
Hmm.
I know his
Scott
name.
Mescudi. Scott Mescudi. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know his name, but or I recognize
Oh,
his name because he's famous. But
Jack. Oh, you mean the character's name?
Kid Cudi,
No, the character's name.
Jackson.
Is that what you? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Jackson Hole.
yeah. um, yeah, so they're loading up a van and they're going to be rich and everybody has rapport, everybody knows one another, except for the little church mouse, which is the cameraman or director's girlfriend, played by Jenna Ortega.
Hmm. So this is where it's sort of like just like a road trip type movie where cool shots inside the van,
The
plowing service
the
van.
van says plowing service.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
just the entendre, just there. You
yeah,
just appreciate it.
sure,
And they're going to go shoot their film because they're making an adult film, and this is
yeah,
where they start to have conversations. RJ and how he wants to do something really beautiful
right,
because he wants to make it big in Hollywood, but this is how he's got to start.
right. And then we get conversations like, why'd you have to pick a place all the way out here? Why didn't you do it in the city? Because it's cheaper out here, and because you can't just do something like this in the city without people knowing that you're doing it, because it's loud,
Right.
right?
Well, yeah, and like the whole idea is that he wants to do something special, and he's got RJ who's going to look at it in a special way. So he thinks that he's really going to be doing something groundbreaking. Plus, he believes that Maxine really is something special. He keeps saying she's
Right.
got that X
She's
factor.
got the X factor.
He
Yep.
repeats that throughout it.
Yep.
So there's significance. He wants to make it meaningful. They stop at a gas station, classic gas station type scene,
Yep.
homage
Okay.
to like every fucking horror
Yeah.
movie ever.
Okay. So here's my first not issue, but it's a note.
Uh oh.
Okay.
Take
All right.
take notice, Ty West.
So this is where the crew would run into what, thanks to Cabin in the Woods, coined the Harbinger, right? the character
Right.
that is there to tell the kids to turn back, that there's only death up ahead, in your classic slasher type. Um,
Right.
and and so that didn't happen. But what did happen, and what I did like about this scene was that, and this was the one note I took, and I actually wrote it down, is that the television actually kind of acts as the harbinger in this sequence.
Yes.
If you
Yeah.
listen to the dialogue from the preacher on the TV in the convenience store or gas station, he's talking about is the sin of sex, and um, how it's destroying, American families and destroying religion and God and Satan and blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And even because they're talking about what they're going to be doing, just like normally, like it's normal casual conversation. They're getting looks from the clerk, like
Right. Yeah.
like
It's just sort
she's
of
like
like, yeah.
judging them. um, so
Right, but
we
they're so comfortable in their own skin. Even in here, like they're just themselves. They're just talking about normal things. Like they're not shying away from discussing what they're doing from the clerk. They're just
right,
themselves, and the same thing happens for the most part around just with each other. They're so open and free with it.
yeah,
So this is also where you see RJ is doing some pre-tape or just doing some like background like shooting,
right.
getting some things going. And Kid Cut Jackson is filling up the gas tank, and he's doing a shot of it. And Bobby Lynn's like,
Bobby Lynn.
if you shot it from this other angle, it would look like he's filling it up with a cock. Like, and so he's like, and so he like pans up, and you see him is like he's pulling back, and
Yeah,
she's like, I know my way around the camera also, like, and
yeah,
she's like,
yeah. I got big ideas too, or something like that. Yeah,
right, yeah, she's just smart, like playing with her glasses and her red outfit. And
yeah. It
just
was
a
a
cool
great,
little interaction.
yeah, great scene. Bobby Lynn and Jackson kind of have a thing on the side,
Yeah, they're boyfriend girlfriend
or they're dating.
because
Um,
Bobby Lynn's talking to Lorraine and saying like, is he your boyfriend, or Lorraine was asking her, is that your boyfriend? She's like, sometime, and
Sometimes, yeah.
you know,
And
yeah,
Maxine and Wayne are also together.
together, yeah, they're
Yep.
dating, yeah,
So it's three couples in a van,
yeah.
going to shoot some porno.
And then
Um,
this is where they now leave again in this cow accident, right
yep,
before they
yep,
get to the house.
yeah. They get slowed by a like a big 18 wheeler that smashed into a cow.
Yeah, like a gas truck, and it's just commonplace that happens. They're all
Yeah,
going slow, and you get to see a lot of gore with the
yeah,
the cow.
yeah. It's
And the sheriff is there watching it, and he's just
yeah.
kind of like, no,
And we know the sheriff because we already saw him,
right,
which is, you know, part of the purpose of the scene is to recognize him later. Um,
right, and like I think it's just sort of like the everydayness of this happened, this gore event happened, and like the guy's just shoveling it off is sort of just foreshadowing the meat that we all are whenever our bodies are in that.
right,
It's just
right.
gonna get shoveled like that
Yep,
to get cleaned up because there's no other way.
yeah. Um, so then they eventually get to the farm, right?
Yeah,
And they first meet Harold? Harold?
Howard, I think.
Howard? Howard.
Yeah, Howie. Yeah,
Howard,
Howard.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the
He
the
so Wayne approaches the door very much like Texas Chainsaw.
yes.
He approaches the door. You see from the inside through the screen. He can't see in. It's just dark. And so Howard approaches, and Howard's got a shotgun on because
Yeah, like
he doesn't remember shit about who this is. What are you doing on the property?
you're not from the county, are you? Um, and no, he explains what's going on. He eventually puts the shotgun down, and Howard assures him that he doesn't keep it loaded because just waving it around is usually enough.
Yeah, and
Um,
Wayne's like, I know what you mean. I got one just like it.
I got one in the glove box of my van.
Yeah,
And this was a very excellent foreshadowing on both accounts, and I'm
yeah.
sure we'll bring it up later.
Well, there's a couple that we'll discuss. There's there's a couple moments that foreshadow other moments that aren't really relevant because it's sort of like, oh, that's a neat little thing to notice that just took more like thinking about and reflecting on before you catch it. But you're not going to see it necessarily on your first go. It took some rewatch type work to notice some things. Uh, so yeah, so they're going to be renting the boarding house
The boarding
on the
house.
property
Yep.
that they acquired during the war. War being World War I, I believe.
Yep.
And he's like he's walking Wayne Howard's walking him there, and he's saying how my wife Pearl is back there. She's not well, and I think he just mentions that just so that they're aware, or
Yep.
whatever, that you might see her there.
Yep.
Uh, and he's not content with the fact that there's so many of them. He was unaware there'd be that many. So
Right.
this is where Wayne Smooth talks to him. He's like, "Yeah, I know you said 30, but here's a little bit extra just so that we don't bother you. We appreciate your
Yeah.
kindness, and we'll do
Yeah.
everything we can. To we won't you won't even know we're here."
And then Howard says, "I don't think I like you, Wayne."
Yeah.
uh,
Uh,
I think also the first thing Jackson said when he saw Wayne like come out when they still were in the van, right? He's like, "That's one,
yeah, they're looking out. They see a shotgun.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's one ugly motherfucker," something like that.
Yeah, like sort of predator. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like, and he is. I mean, and the actor who plays him, they did some good makeup. Because
Yeah.
I didn't recognize them at all.
No, I mean, it seems like the things that they're going to be having to do, uh, like this is one of the themes that's in the movie is it's not necessarily ageism or like ableism, but like age and youth and beauty and old age and end of life and limitations, physical limitations. Like all those are characteristics that are going to be dealt with and talked about in the movie. And for the characters to do what they're going to be doing, it wouldn't be fair to ask that of an older actor to do, or it's disrespectful with the scenes that are going to happen later, where it's like you feel like you're going to be taking advantage. So having a younger person to do those things, just it makes sense from a logistics standpoint, and
Sure,
seems like
sure.
the right way to do it. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's easier to make a person who can still, move with some agility slow down. It's
Right,
easier to make that him slow down than it is to make someone who can't do it
right,
speed up, obviously, right?
right. Or just to
Um,
burden them unnecessarily
yeah,
because it's just asking a lot.
right, right, exactly. Um, so they they basically are now checked in, and I think they get right to the first shot.
Yeah, they get right to it.
Yeah,
But Lorraine speaks up. She's like, he doesn't know what we're doing, does he?
right, right,
And and Wayne's like, yeah, of course not. This is the way it is. Like,
yeah,
we're not gonna bother anyone. We're gonna be doing our own thing.
right.
No one will know. So yeah, they jump right to the first scene. The first scene, the
The
story that
farmer's daughters.
they handed out the scripts in the van on the way down
Yeah,
because RJ wrote it. RJ's filming it. Wayne is just a producer for the most part, the
yep,
financier of it.
yep,
And yeah, so the first scene is going to be with Bobby Lynn and Jackson.
right. Which, they go to 4x3 for these shots, which,
Right, the where you see the real, yeah.
yeah, which was awesome. Like,
Hmm.
especially reminiscent of the porn from that era too. Just like how it was all a dude holding a camera, right? Like there was
Right,
no
yeah.
such thing as a steady cam back then, and
Hmm.
like
And so it has
uh,
that orange glow, the filter
yeah,
to it,
yeah,
like
yeah, the graininess. It was really,
right.
really, really well done. Um,
And so the scene, like the porn scene, Bobby Lynn is just like way over the top, super vocal, and like just nonstop talking and yes and yes yes and give it to me, do this and do that, like just way uh what you would traditionally see in a low budget porn where it's just like exaggerated
yeah,
sexual response.
yeah.
And you see Lorraine, she's holding the boom. She's I don't think done any of this before, but she's holding the boom, and you just see her like she's looking at the
She's like,
action,
yeah,
like
she's like
she's looking
locked
at
in.
Jackson, and then she's like watching what's happening. And you hear the noises too. It's super sloppy sounding. Like you
Yeah.
hear sex. It's
Oh yeah.
really in your face.
Well, they cut
Uh,
away when the scene is over, and then they cut back to Bobby Lynn in the bed, and like she's got the cum shot across her back, and she cleans it up,
right.
which I thought was insane because like even suggested sex in movies, they like never show that, right? Like,
Hmm.
so that was I thought a bold choice, but she takes the rag and she kind of throws it. It kind of goes near Lorraine, and she didn't mean to. She like laughs and she's like, "Sorry, honey," and just goes back, about her business, which was
Yeah.
a funny little scene too. But uh,
So while all that's going on, Maxine's off traipsing around. She's out just exploring the property. She decides when she comes across the pond.
yes,
This is all while that's going on because this isn't her scene, so she's gonna go explore the property. And this she's wearing nothing but overalls. They're
right,
like shorts overalls buttoned up, and she's gonna go explore the pond. She and this is where you start to see a figure in the background watching her
yeah,
through the trees. And so she undresses and she gets into the pond and she's just taking a swim. And this is a beautiful aerial shot that starts to happen.
yeah. This shot was fantastic.
It was just so cool looking. The high up like drone type shot where you're just looking straight down and all you see is just like the sort of murky gray green of the pond. You see the dock and you see her pale body just relaxing and swimming out. And I can't remember when they start to show the gator, but I don't know if it shows up in the aerial shot or if you then see it just a close up of, yeah, you see it.
See,
You
yeah,
see a
you get the
close up
close up in the
of it.
tall grass, and then you don't see it
Right.
again until she's swimming back to the dock.
Right. She starts swimming back, and you start to see it slowly creeping in
Right.
to catch up to her. And this scene is just built with such tension,
Yeah. And
where
they
like
don't
you kind
even
of know that nothing's gonna happen
right
because it's too early. It
too
doesn't make
early,
sense.
and
It's
she's the
not
main
worth it.
character. Yeah.
But it's still building. You still feel it because it's like it's why I swim fast as hell to get out of the a swimming pool because I'm afraid that something's behind there. So like, that's what I'm like. You're just like squirming in the anticipation of it. She even pauses at the dock before she hops out,
Yeah.
and there's keep build. And you see the gator getting closer and closer. She hops out, and the sound of it and everything. It's like the gator doesn't get her. She
Yeah.
hops out in the pond.
It
Yeah.
just cuts right away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
So she's on her she's still on her way back and at the to the barn to the boarding house, but she looks up at the barn and Pearl is there.
Pearl is there,
The
and
woman's there. She
she's
sort
kind of
of
like
has like a yeah,
waving or doing something
yeah,
like this.
a weird gesture,
Yeah.
but then
Straight.
like it looks like you see a come hither
Yeah.
after the wave is acknowledged by Maxine, where you see a motion like this, and so Maxine like is she feels weird, but she's like I gotta go, so she goes.
Yeah. And we meet Pearl, who is Howard's wife, and she invites Maxine for some lemonade.
She
And
just says lemonade.
yeah, and
She creeps her out, and she's like she's very very old. Uh, both of the characters you don't see too close up, but like they've aged significantly,
yeah,
where it's really like Jackson said earlier, like that's an ugly motherfucker. Like
yeah, definitely some old makeup, some like extra layers of skin to make it look kind of peely. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
Maxine does not want to be in there. She takes the lemonade. She downs it.
she
Right away, just drinks the whole thing.
in one shot. Yeah, it's like, well,
It's like,
I
oh,
should probably get back
well,
to my
yeah,
friends.
my boyfriend doesn't like it when he doesn't know where I'm at. So she tries to leave, but this is where Pearl has a small conversation with her
And
in the
then
hall
yeah,
by
and
the
kind of
mirror about. Yeah, she touches her. She's talking to her
just
about what she used to do. She used to be a dancer, and
yeah,
she
yeah,
used to be young and beautiful. And like that's the other thing in the movie. They're going to start talking about where that's what she's longing for or wants to experience. So you're kind of planting that seed about her prior life, and she used to be young and beautiful before. And
yeah.
yeah, she sort of grazes
Yeah, her
her midriff.
like yeah, or like her side, like like really creepily, like in between like breast and waist, and
Yeah,
just kind of does one of these, and it was like, oh, gross. She's like, "What are you doing? Don't touch me!"
yeah.
And she just kind of
Uh,
runs out of there.
well,
Oh
Howard
no,
comes
no,
by
Howard
and
comes home, so she can't run
he
out of
comes
there.
home. She says, "You go out this way. It'll be our secret."
Yeah.
Uh, and so she gets out the
She's like,
side.
"What?
Howard comes
What'll
in, and
be
she
our secret?"
right. She runs back once Howard comes in.
Yeah.
Uh, she see Wayne, little jump scare. Wayne stops her right at the front. It's like, "Where you
Right.
been? We're looking all over for your time." And so we cut to the next porno scene that they're gonna film.
Right. Where Jackson finds Maxine, and one thing leads to another.
The other farmer's daughter who's been milking the cows. Jackson
Right.
needs a his car's broke down. Well, because like with Bobby Lynn, he talks to her,
Right. Right.
and
She
she
answered the
and
door.
she's
Yeah.
yeah, and she's like, "Would you like to come inside?" And he's like, much obliged."
Yeah.
And then this one, uh, I
She
think
says she
he's
says
like,
I can give you a ride.
right,
Oh,
yeah,
I'll
yeah, yeah,
give you a
because his
ride.
car is broke down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the nice one-liner there.
So this is where they're doing their scene, and so she's sort of riding him like cowgirl style,
Yeah.
and they're watching, and her acting as the porn actress is much more like emotional or evocative. It's not so fake sounding as it was with Bobby Lynn.
Right.
It seems more natural, but like also like the tone of her voice just seems more realistic. And they're all watching and just like blown away. Again,
Yeah.
you see shots of Lorraine looking at the
Lorraine just
action,
like
like so
locked in.
starry
Yeah.
eyed,
Yeah.
loving it, and like
Yeah.
she's looking right at the sex.
Yeah.
She's not like looking at everything around. She's focused, laser like focus on it while she's holding the boom. And this is where you start to see Pearl is now at the window. She's watching what's going on.
Right.
And there's by the end of this scene, there's a cool blending of it where Pearl is envisioning her face on Maxine's body, where you see the bandana that Maxine's wearing, but then you see the Pearl's makeup in her face wearing that, and it's just all kinds of creepy. But
Yeah.
she's like envisioning it and just like enjoying it, voyeuristically watching what they're doing.
Yep. Um.
And then it cuts back to them hanging out, right?
Yeah, they're just hanging out, drinking beers after the day of shooting, and I think starts off Jackson says something about how good he is, and Bobby Lynn's like, "You're not that good," and she just like kind of fakes it real quick, and it sounds
Right.
just like it did earlier. So he's like put in his place real quick.
Yeah, she's
Um,
like, "Don't feel bad, babe."
yeah, yeah, and then it comes eventually around to Lorraine, who speaks up, and everyone is kind of shocked that she even has something to say.
Well, so is the montage before what she says though? I believe it is, right?
The montage.
The musical number.
Oh, right, 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 right. So,
The
Bobby
because they
Lynn
like with
sings.
I can't remember how the order of events happens because I feel like the music leaves this scene. So maybe they do have the conversation. They must, right? Because it would
Dang.
make sense then that they have the lyrical thing afterward. So
Right.
either way, like,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
want to talk
yeah.
about the montage because the montage is a great scene.
So the
But
montage
let's
comes
talk about
next, but
what
yeah, we gotta do the talking
let's
first.
talk
Yeah.
about what so they're all just kind of like hanging out. Oh shit! There's one thing that happened which I thought was a great beat that I want to just mention. Uh, fuck, this was I love this part. RJ shows Wayne. I think it's after the first scene that they shoot. There's a somewhere in between before they shoot the next one, or it's right after they shoot both. RJ shows Wayne the footage in a room. You don't see that, but then they come out in the hall and they're talking, and RJ is like, "Oh my god, I can't believe what did I just see? Like people are gonna flip when they see this, and like we're gonna be rich.
Yeah.
Feel how hard my cock is right
You're
now." And he
right.
grabs his hand and he puts it right on him, and they're like both stoked, like, "Yeah, this is gonna be awesome." And like they're smiling. RJ doesn't give a shit that he's doing it. I'm like, for me, like that was like I was laughing so loud in the
Yeah.
theater, and no one else is making any noise. I'm like, this so it's like I feel like I want to have a friendship like that where I say that as a reaction to how excited I am at something, and I want it to be normal that I have my friend. It's just
Yeah, no, that scene was hilarious, absolutely.
so. So they're having dinner, and they made like bologna sandwiches on Wonder Bread,
Yeah.
and they're just drinking beer.
Yep.
Yeah, and so they're talking, and Lorraine pipes up and starts to
Yep.
question it, right?
Right. Right. She's like, well, I liked what I saw today. All right. Well, she asked some questions first, right?
Because
About
she's like, how can you let your boyfriend do that? Like, aren't you guys
right.
together? How can you let him do that? Right?
Yeah.
She questions that part of it, that he's sleeping with that, and this is where they're talking
Right.
about
The cameras
they're
make
like,
it
this was
different.
just
It's just make
yeah,
believe. Yeah. It's just a
it's not
movie.
yeah, this is pretend. We're actors, we're professionals. It's okay. It's you know, it doesn't make us feel weird at all. That's and they like kind of convince her to like that's what it's about. It's not a big deal. There's an art to it, or we're just they have a big dialogue about what it means, and I can't remember everything about uh, how they describe it, but it seemed very intelligent and mature for them of probably being somewhat young. Not they're not minors obviously, but they're still probably 20s, early 20s,
Sure.
and they're just talking about like it's sort of like that free spirited type vibe where they're you know almost like hippies,
Oh yeah.
and
Definitely.
it's just like this is what we're doing, and it's totally okay. It's sex doesn't have to be a big deal. This is just what it is. It's just our bodies, and yeah, Lorraine's just trying to understand because she obviously then is going to say how she kind of dug it.
Yeah. She says that she really liked everything she saw today a lot more than she did, or she thought she would, and they almost go, yeah, whatever, and kind of talk over her, and she interrupts them immediately with, "I want to be in the movie." Uh, to to which RJ is like, "No fucking way."
Yeah, yeah. Immediately he's like, "What?" He just says, "What?" Like so disbelief, and then he
Yeah.
gets angry.
Oh yeah.
And now there's this double standard. Like, well, what the fuck? We were all just talking about how this is normal.
Right.
Why
Uh,
isn't it okay for me now?
yeah. In the van, there was a conversation on the way in where she gave, the whole concept of pouring a little bit of shit, and he says, "When'd you become such a prude?"
Right.
So in this moment, she throws it right back at him, and she
Yeah.
says, "When did you become such a prude?" And that's when Wayne says, "Hey, let's go outside for a minute." And
Right.
he
So the
explains,
montage must have been before that conversation because like the uh because they wouldn't have separated before that montage happened. So it doesn't really matter. So let's have the
right.
uh
So
he's like
so
she's gonna do it
yeah,
whether you approve
Wa-
of it or not.
Wayne lays down the
She's making her mind
law.
up.
Wayne lays down the law, and absolutely 1,100,000,000%, if you had did not know this about women, listen to what Wayne says here, because this is the best advice you could ever have. She's gonna do it anyway, so you can either be a dick about it or just let her do it,
Yeah.
like, and just make your peace with it.
Right.
So would you want to be the cool guy who like let her do it, or do you want to be you know the guy
Right.
who loses his relationship over it?
Yeah.
Um,
So they're gonna get into where they come back and he talks them in and like they shoot the scene. So it must have been before that conversation happened that they actually have the music. It came. It doesn't matter the. So like there's, Jackson has his guitar, and this is
yep.
also where it felt like college. Like when I was in college, like some people I think watched this scene and thought that it was sort of out of place or it didn't make sense. Like this doesn't happen, and to shoot it the way that they shot it. But like for real, people like this and of this age, if one of them is musically inclined, one can sing and one can play guitar, they're gonna fucking play the songs that they know. Like
Yeah,
that's a fact. They're gonna
especially
do this.
especially when they're practically camping, they're just doing it indoors.
There's nothing else to fucking do. They're
Yeah,
talking, they're
exactly.
drinking beer, they're
Yeah.
eating. This
It's
is the entertainment.
it's
There's no TV or anything.
1979, exactly. There's no internet, no phones.
So
Like,
it's completely fitting.
yeah,
And so they sing she sings a rendition of Landslide.
right.
And now this super edited alteration and blending of two shots and multiple pannings of shots and scenes is going to take place where they're singing it and you hear the lyrics, and you cut between them singing it and um, Pearl in her room in front of her mirror, combing her hair and looking at herself, putting on makeup and like just thinking about growing older. Like the lyrics of the song is
Oh, oh,
too.
we lost that whole sentence. Let's just say that
Oh
one more
yeah.
time. Yep.
Well, like the lyrics of the song are so obviously related to I'm growing older too. Times are
Yeah.
changing.
Sure.
It's but it's like it's romantic. It's beautiful. Her obviously she was in Pitch Perfect, so she knows how to fucking sing.
Well, yeah, Brittany. I mean, when that first started, I was like, well, you don't put Brittany Snow in a movie and don't make her sing a song, like, duh.
Yeah.
um, but it was beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
what a scene. Yeah, the impact of the lyrics, how what they meant to the characters in those moments.
Hmm.
It was like a
Yeah.
music video. Like it could have
Right,
just
and
been a
like
music.
how
Like,
your age and the way that you interpret it changes the way that you feel about the song. Whether it's love and looking forward to growing older and things happening, and like you're putting your mark on the world, or you're living your life now, and you're coming into your prime, and then her reflecting back as an elderly person that all that's gone. I'm losing all of my vitality and all the painful loss of youth is as an
yeah.
elderly person. Both of those feelings and the way that they edited it with the way that it was sort of just like sort of swipe shot, it was just really impactful.
And I remember when this scene was. This scene was when Maxine was getting ready for her scene.
Was it?
Because yes,
No.
because yeah, it
No.
was. It
No, it
had to have
wasn't.
been. It had to have been.
They were on the couch. It wasn't when she was getting ready for her fucking scene. They're on the couch.
All
They're all on the
right.
couch at
Okay.
dinner.
All
And
right.
that's where the guitar
That's
is.
what that's what the guitar is. All right. Anyway.
I think
So
that like they
anyway.
talk a little bit and then they play the guitar and then they must have the conversation with Lorraine.
All right. So
Speaking of,
before we
doesn't
go
matter.
to shoot Lorraine's scene, Howard. So all of the makeup and dress doing her hair was actually not just for this montage. It was purposeful.
Yes,
She is going to try and have sex with her husband, and
right,
he's gonna tell her, "No, Pearl, sorry, my heart can't take it." And
right.
the look on her
Because
face is just
she's so dejected. Yeah,
utter devastation. Like, I
and
I mean,
she was looking at them younger. She's obviously longing for this uh, connection with him again.
yeah,
She sees youth and she wants to experience life in that way again with her husband.
yep,
Yeah, super unfortunate.
yeah, a rough scene actually.
Uh huh.
It was good because you don't know, well, it's a horror movie, but you don't know who the killer is yet.
Yeah, or how it's going to transpire. I mean, you
Right,
can have suspicions like that you feel uncomfortable with them, but you don't know really what's going to happen.
right,
So yeah, you definitely feel the weight of it.
yeah,
And so yeah, so then we go back to the boarding house, and it's sort of just slow shot where Wayne's walking RJ in, and they're all already getting ready,
yeah,
panties,
yeah.
and
Hands him the camera.
and
He's
Jackson was doing push-ups. He gets up, he gets on the bed, and he lays down with a towel, and then you just see Lorraine get on top of the bed and start to go towards this towel, and like, and RJ has to just put the fucking camera on, and he's just gonna watch it.
yeah,
Uh, and you don't see anything else. Her
yeah,
panties say Sunday on it. It's like good girl, wholesome type look,
yeah,
with
right.
her. But she looks so much
With,
younger than the
with yeah, right. With her day of the week panties.
right.
Um,
And then does it
and
cut to pretty much
it
bedtime,
cuts to
right?
bedtime. I think everybody's
And
asleep, and it's
and
like,
except RJ, who's in the
right.
shower.
So it shows like Jackson and Bobby Lynn in bed. Then it shows Wayne and Maxine in bed. Then it shows Lorraine in bed
Lorraine in bed,
alone,
right?
and then it
Because
cuts to the
RJ is in the
shower, and
shower.
he just
He's
starts
sobbing. Yeah.
crying like you just couldn't believe, just
Real
like
cool shot
unloading
overhead of the tub where you
overhead.
see
Yeah,
how he's just feels so lost and like broken down by this. He is
right,
not able to separate the art from the act,
right.
It's a hard line for him,
Yeah.
clearly,
Yeah.
that they didn't discuss because he didn't think he would have to discuss. She
Right.
was just the sound person. And his argument is like, you can't just change the story midway through shooting it. It's
Right.
already locked in. She's like,
I
what the fuck are you talking about? You can't do that. And like another sort of like play on the fact that you can't change the story midway through, like with the events that are going to happen, the twists that occur in a plot, sort
yeah.
of cool self-referential, referential thing.
Oh yeah. So he gets out of the next scene we just cuts he's fully clothed and he like
Yeah.
grabs
He's
the
like, fuck it.
keys and he says fuck this and he starts up the van and he tries to drive out of there but he gets stopped by Pearl who's in the driveway like he would have to drive through her. So
Right.
he
He's creeped out. He's like, okay.
yeah, he just
The
get he
radio's
gets
playing. Blue
yep.
Oyster called on
Blue
the
Oyster
radio.
Cult. Yeah, don't fear the Reaper. Some more foreshadowing.
He comes on out and he starts talking to her like, "Can I help you?" He
Yes.
knows that she's sick, right? Because that's what
Yeah.
Howard said earlier.
Right.
So he's kind of like concerned for her. Are you okay? He approaches her
Yeah.
from the side and
I
uh,
think she like hugs him, right?
she comes on to him. Yeah, she gets
Yeah.
close and she like tries to go in to kiss him.
Yeah. And he's
And
like, "What are you?" He's like, "What are you
he's like, was
doing?"
he like, no, no, no,
And
like you're confused
and then a knife right into his neck. And this was
immediately.
this was awesome. The practical effects here, um, yeah, he right. She pulls it out and then immediately jabs again, and then
Uh huh.
jabs a third time, and then the body's on the ground. She mounts the body, and then just goes throat, 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 and just
Yeah.
mangles. Uh, yeah,
Practically decapitated with how
decapitates.
destroyed that neck was.
Yeah,
And you see, but like as she's doing it, the blood is splattering and spraying everywhere, and it's onto the truck. It's coated the headlights, so now there is a
now it's
red
red.
hue
Yeah,
to everything.
yes. Now, okay. So a couple things here for me. Lorraine mentioned that his favorite movie is like Psycho earlier in the movie,
Yes,
and so when he
yeah,
was in the shower, I was like, oh.
I know. It's
But
sort of
that
like bait and switch type things, or where like
right. But that's
subverting your
okay.
expectations. And
But it, it
but that's the thing. It's intentional almost. Little red herring, a little
yeah.
idea, put it in your head.
But
Now I'm gonna flip it.
but he still delivered because
Right.
it was raining like in a shower.
Hmm.
The stab, the multiple stabs, the constant stabbing, it was like this instead of like this. But the
Yep.
blood hitting those headlights was the same as the
Yeah.
blood hitting that single dangling uh, light bulb, and it
Right.
was like okay, so we got you gave us the Psycho, but you gave it to us in a different way. Bravo! It was
Yeah.
great. The first kill of the movie, excellent, and I also predicted that it would be RJ earlier in
Yeah.
the film. Yeah, I was like, this guy's definitely going first.
So Pearl finishes that stabbing. She gets up and she's like in her element now. There's something about what she just did. And again, this is the idea, their idea. Slashers and a lot of ways that people perceived it when they started to become a thing is that the act of stabbing is meant to symbolize or to evoke penetration, and it's the sexual gratification that can't occur from the killer through other means with the victim, and so it's a way to have that penetration uh,
Yeah, that
via
release.
this mean. Yes, and so she's like experiencing that euphoria, and she's taken back to her youth when she's doing these pirouette type fucking things like dancing and
Yeah,
arms up and in the glow and just like swaying to fucking Blue Oyster Cult, and it's the whole scene was just really visually stunning. When you start to think about all the other elements that led to creating this scene shot the way that it was, you just are so rewarded as a fan that's knowledgeable of horror.
oh yeah,
It
absolutely.
was really fucking great.
Yeah, yeah, great first kill. Um, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so Lorraine's gonna wake up, find that RJ is missing, and wake up the rest of the house. Can't find RJ. What's going on with RJ?
She
So,
wakes. Uh,
or does she
I
just
don't
wake
think
up
she.
Wayne?
Wayne stirs and he's already up.
Yeah.
and he comes out and sees her.
She's her,
I
and
think,
she's
yeah,
like, I can't find our. Oh, right. She convinces him to go with her. So it's just the
yes,
two of them. Yeah, it's just the two of them looking. Um, so he goes to the barn, and she goes to the house
yeah. He decides to go along, and he's wearing his little tidy whities for the most part,
and his cowboy
real small.
hat.
Yeah, and that's it. So he goes to the house. He goes to the barn. She goes to the house. And this is where we follow. They sort of cut back and forth during this next sequence of events, and that's really important because the way that they're cutting these two interactions has really meaningful and deliberate transitions. But I believe they follow through with Wayne at first. It doesn't
Yes.
really. There's a couple points that are important, but a couple beats that are important with how it transitions. But yeah, Wayne
Yeah.
enters the thing. He's pissed at her. He's like, "RJ, you in here? Where are you at, man? Come on, you gotta snap
Yeah.
out of it, man. You gotta get." It's like, it's all right, man. Come on,
Yeah.
just gotta.
So and then she's in the house, and she's kind of just like wandering
She approaches
around.
the house, and the light comes
A light comes
on the
on.
porch,
Yeah.
and Howard comes out, and he's like, "Have you seen my wife? My wife's missing."
Right.
And so that's where he then corrals her inside to say, "I only got this one flashlight though. The other one's in the basement. Gotta go
Yeah.
get it."
Yeah. At the bottom of the stairs, right across my workbench.
Right.
Right.
So he sends her down, and so back to Wayne. Uh,
Wayne
so
hears a
he's
noise, and he's
yeah.
like, he goes up against the back wall.
Well, he as his way exploring, he steps on the nail. You see the
Oh,
shot
right,
of the
right. Yeah,
nail
yeah. The camera's in front of the nail. Yeah, and you
in
get the
front of the
foot coming
nail,
down.
and you
Yeah.
know it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
And so
that's
all I thought of like was Home Alone
all
because
right.
that's the only.
Home Alone. For me, it was Army of Darkness.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
and so he steps on it. A little bit of gore. He pulls it out. A lot of blood.
yeah,
And so now he's hobbling,
yeah,
still in his underwear and his hat. And he goes, yes, he hears a noise or he sees a shadow.
yeah.
He sees a shadow move from where it was going. And the
In
whole
this,
wall has all kinds of knots and holes in the
yeah.
slats of this thing. And so he approaches it.
And there's like three holes in a row, and
Hmm.
he like gets down, and he's like,
Yeah, and then the other one he sees
and he's
a
just,
shape. Yeah,
yeah. He
and
just
he's
keeps going like from hole to hole to hole, back and forth, and it's like really close up on his face.
yeah, and like you know what's gonna happen.
You know it.
You're like on edge. You know something's gonna happen, and you're preparing for the squirm of it.
Well, for me, and I said it out loud like a half a second before it happened. I was like, holes, three holes in a wall, and then I went pitchfork, and then like right into his eyes.
Yeah.
That was great.
And it just and
Oh,
it's quick shot, and
yeah,
then that cuts back to her now.
yeah.
Okay, and so he just hit.
It just goes in
So,
and cut.
yes, goes
Yes.
back to her, and she is. This is where, hmm, shit. I think this is now. It goes
So,
back to.
well, she's in the basement. She grabs the flashlight, and she gets to the top of the stairs, and the door's locked, and she starts screaming and slamming on the door to get let out. Right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember
Does she go?
if if the cut happens because the cut happens when she hits the light switch, the pull chain for the bulb.
Right, right.
So I think that
So,
what must have happened, like him getting forked, I think happens before she even sees Howard
right,
because he gets forked and then she sees Howard. He tells her, "You got to go see the light bulbs or whatever,
right,
basement flashlight." So then when she gets to the stairs and she pulls the chain to the bulb, you see the bulb and like she pulls the chain and then it cuts back to um Howard, her pulling the pitchfork out and his eyes
ow.
popping out of his
Yeah,
head.
his eyes come out with it, and they kind of fall off the end of the pitchfork onto the ground. Yeah, it
And it's
was.
just it's a fast cut that happens
Yeah,
where she pulls that chain and you just hear the poop and his eyeballs flying down.
yeah,
And then think right then it goes right away where Pearl then approaches him
right.
holding the
Holding a
pitchfork,
pitchfork.
all delicately and old,
Yeah, and then just
and
starts to like
she
cover it.
gives a but she gives one little poke and
Oh yeah,
you hear like the fleshy puncture of it
Yeah.
And then like she's like, yeah, he's gone. And then she just rummages a little bit of hay on top of
Yeah.
it. And she's like, I'll just leave this right here.
Yeah.
This is good. Yeah, this is fine. So yeah, so now we're back to to Lorraine's character,
Yeah.
or to Lorraine in the basement. Uh,
So she right. So
yeah,
she
she gets her flashlight. She comes back upstairs. The door's
door's
locked.
locked. She
She
starts to
can't get
freak
out.
out. She can't get
Yeah,
out. He tells her just to stay down there. That's what's best for you.
yeah.
Um,
And so she starts to explore.
she starts to explore and she finds the body. Right. This is so now.
Yeah,
This was that disgusting thing that we didn't get to see in the opening sequence.
right.
It's a man who we don't know.
No,
Like just some random man. But the body's pretty old. Not very
yeah. It looks
old,
like
but it's
it's a
old.
young guy, but
Yeah.
it looks like it's very gray, like it's been dead for a while.
Yeah.
And it
And
starts that it has been. It's a quick pan. It goes all the way down. We see full frontal male
full
nudity,
frontal. Yep. Yep.
pants around his ankles,
Yep.
and
Pants
he's
around
just
his
strung
ankles.
up.
And
Uh,
yeah, she
and you cut
screams.
back to her, and you get her fucking
Yeah.
scream, like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
scream queen
Yeah.
Jenna Ortega
Yeah.
is fucking coming for that shit with scream.
Oh yeah.
uh and what the hell else was this she was just recently in? I'm drawing a blank on, but she's clearly like leveraging herself to, I think, because she did a third film, and I'm just blanking on what the other film
She was
was
in the
recently.
Babysitter 2, looks like. Oh, she was in Studio
Okay,
666 as well.
yes, that's the other one. Yeah, so
Yep.
she which we're going to be talking about next week probably. So yeah, Studio 666, X, and Scream, all within a month or so of time of releasing horror, where she's such an important character. She's definitely taking on that role and seeing like this is a path to me maybe having a really strong career, because her reaction, the scream,
Oh
it's
yeah.
on the cover of a lot of different arts and postings, where it's just a great reaction.
Yeah.
So
So then she's looking for a weapon. She puts her hand on a couple things, and the first thing was like a screwdriver, and then a hammer, and then she finds a hatchet. Okay, hatchet. Yeah, let's. This is the
right,
best of the three.
right.
Runs back to the top of the stairs, starts chopping at the door.
I don't. Yeah, does that happen right away? It must,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it happens right
Yeah,
away. Yeah, okay. So she breaks the
the
inner
panel.
divot
Yeah,
of the panel. Yeah,
yeah,
she
yeah.
gets her hand out there. She's trying to like figure out something,
And
and
there's a couple barrel bolts and other locks on either
yeah,
knob of the barrel bolt, and I think there's more. So she gets the one barrel open, and she's still
yeah.
fishing with it.
And with the butt of the shotgun, he just destroys her hand with three or
Right.
four good smashes. And this is some excellent practical effects here. When she
Hmm.
brings her hand back in, like there was no cut, no camera cut, and the hand is mangled, the bone is sticking out, and she brings it right back in to her to hold it like this, and
And she just is just
oh yeah, it was yeah,
mangled.
it was great. Excellent practical effects there.
Right. So we cut back to the house. Jackson wakes up. So we currently have RJ's been killed. Wayne's been killed. Our last remaining male character, Jackson, wakes up. He gets some milk at the fridge. He drinks milk from the carton. There's a missing photo on the side of the milk that I think looks like a bearded young male. I
Oh
think
sure,
could be the guy
could be
in the
the
basement.
guy.
Uh, and
Howard knocks at the door.
Howard knocks at the door, and Jackson approaches and answers the door. He's buck naked,
Yep.
and they have an interaction.
Some dangling
And
penis. Yeah, some more
yeah,
penis.
gratuitous, perhaps prosthetic, perhaps not. Doesn't matter. Uh, I've heard people say it's like, yeah, look at him, he's badass, and then other people are like, I've seen a lot of silhouetted penises, and this is not a natural looking one. Whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Nobody cares.
I,
It's a movie.
I can tell you, I cannot simulate this shot myself, so there's no real
Yeah.
point. I can't really tell you. So, Howard is more or less saying, "You need help. I can't find my wife. She's lost. Will you help me find her?" And Jackson's whole thing is, "Once a Marine, always a Marine.
Right.
I will, and I'll give you a hand."
Let me put on my skivvies.
scan my skivvies and we'll give you a hand.
Yeah.
So they come out to the swamp, and he's only got the one flashlight. Jackson's like, "That's fine. I spent time in Vietnam. I
Yeah.
know my way around. I think I'll be okay."
Yeah.
Uh,
Spent three
and
days
he
face
mentions
down
the
in a rice paddy.
alligator. Yeah, he
Right.
mentions that there's alligators around his shotgun
Yeah.
because they cause issues. So they split up to look for the
Right.
wife.
So it follows Jackson. It doesn't follow Howard, and then Jackson can't
Right,
find anything, so he gives up. He's coming back. He sees the light because he knows Howard has the flashlight, and the flashlight was kind of a lure, right?
right.
Gets Jackson to the position that Howard wanted him to be in.
Well, before he does see that, he does find the VW bug.
Oh,
That's
right. He does. Yeah, he does turn a
he
corner
sees a
in the tall
bug half
grass.
submerged and in the swamp, and he sees like a make love not war bumper sticker, and he's
Right.
sort of confused, like what is this doing here?
Yeah.
But he has no time to really think about that or process it. He sees the light as he continues the walk, and he gets to it, thinking Howard's wandered into the swamp and could be in distress,
Right.
and so he runs over there to try to get it, but it's just the flashlight, and Howard's not there, so he grabs it and he gets up, and now he turns and Howard's confronting him. And this is where Howard starts laying into him, and how upset he is that they've been. And this is where he says they've been traipsing around,
Traipsing around,
enticing my wife.
enticing my wife. Right. And yeah, he just shoots him right in the chest,
Point blank. It's
point
just like
blank.
done. Jackson doesn't even have any time to really deal with anything that he's saying. He just
Yeah,
Howard says his piece and he just fucking takes him
blows
out
him away.
immediately.
So this is going to be my second uh, note.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Guns like guns in a
Like
horror
you should.
movie. Like Jackson was
Oh,
so
that
it
they used
was
a gun.
no,
Oh, you
not
don't like that it
even
was a gun?
not even that it's a gun. Like blow his arm off and chase him down and then drown him or something. Like or he, come like obviously Howard's old. I get it, but there's just like you have an opportunity for a kill here, right? So
Right.
I get
There's
that it's
something to be
it's
said
it's
about
definitely the
that you're
most
not
real.
all of them can be over the top creative.
No, that's true,
Because then that's
and it is obviously extremely realistic that it would have happened this
right.
way, and it makes
Right.
complete sense to my rational brain, but to my horror movie watching brain, I sense a wasted opportunity. So that's gonna be my second note. Not, once again,
Yeah, but let's
none of my notes, all of my notes are nitpicking. None of them
sure.
are major.
The trouble with that idea is that there are people that take that kind of thought process where you want to see something more creative and interesting, and then you get dumb motherfuckers like the people that made "I Know What You Did Last Summer" involved, and they start to involve a goddamn fucking contraption,
Yeah,
Rube Goldberg type thing that does this, that triggers this, that does this, that does that,
yeah,
and then you kind of find out it was just some young dumb little girl and her bodyguard that set up all these elaborate things. There's a fucking excavator in the one scene where it had a zip line and it strung up the lady.
yeah.
That's the polar opposite. Like, so
Right,
do you
right.
do that ridiculousness where everyone's like, "What the fuck is even happening? This is so unrealistic,"
Sure.
or you just do it normal?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you shoot him in the chest and it knocks him over. Well, okay. Well, don't let it knock him over. Can we get the hole? Can we
Right,
give
Jackson
us the hole?
Hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jackson Hole.
Blow a hole
I
in him and let him stand there and look
yeah
at it and maybe touch it and fall over. Like
yeah.
give me something. Give me something.
See you at the party, Richter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. Okay.
As I get it. Okay,
Yes.
fair
All right.
enough.
So just give me something. Anyway.
So
Okay.
all the males are dead.
All the males
Lorraine
are
is
dead.
stuck in the basement, and Bobby Lynn and Maxine are still asleep in the boarding house.
Yes. Um, so what happens next is
Uh, Pearl, Pearl,
Pearl wakes up Bobby Lid.
she doesn't wake her up.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Oh,
Pearl does
right.
not. Pearl wants to
Pearl
get comfortable
Pearl gets
with
into bed
Maxine.
with Maxine,
She still
and
has blood-soaked hand.
right,
She takes
right.
off her gown and she lays next
She
to
lays next to
Maxine.
Maxine. She like
And she
cuddles with
starts
her even. She puts her hands on her.
caressing.
Yeah.
That goes on for a little while.
Yep.
Until Maxine stirs and is, face to face with fucking
Right.
old ass Pearl, and
Right.
she screams at the top of her lungs,
And
and
runs
that's
out
what
of
wakes
there.
up Bobby Lynn.
Right.
wakes up Bobby Lynn. She just screams.
Yeah.
She's in bed. Pearl gets up. Bobby Lynn comes out of her bed and sees Pearl just run by like naked, more or less, so like
Yeah.
freaking like just getting piecing out. And Bobby Lynn goes in and talks to her, and is like, "What happened?" And
Like,
she's like, "That old woman was in my bed." And
touching
she's
me.
just freaking
She was
out,
like
touching
touching
me,
me.
and
Yeah.
oh my god. And so Bobby Lynn's like, she's probably all just crazy or doesn't know where she's at
Yeah.
or having an episode or whatever the fuck she says. So Bobby Lynn puts on takes a blanket and starts to go look for Pearl to make sure that she's okay. Because again, Howard said she's old and sick, and so she's out of her fucking mind. Obviously, she
Right.
doesn't know where
Right.
she's at. She finds her down at the swamp, or at the
Right.
pond,
Is it
the
on
lake.
the dock too? Right.
Yeah, yeah. So she goes down to give her a hand, and she starts talking to her. She's like, I want to be a nurse. I help my aunt or
Yeah.
whatever. I can
Like, I
okay.
don't I don't
And
need your help, whore.
yeah, she fucking takes it to a 10 right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. Yeah. And Bobby Lynn isn't having any of it. She's like, you don't get to talk to me that way just because
It's like,
you're,
well then,
yeah,
fine, fuck
yeah,
you,
fuck
then,
you
more or
then, huh?
less.
Yeah,
And so yeah, Bobby Lynn had come around to the front of Pearl, who was looking out distant into the water's edge,
yeah.
uh, and like without any hesitation,
Pearl
uh,
just pushes her
Pearl
into
just
the
like
water. Yep.
shoves her right into the water, and for like you have a moment or two, and then you just see the gator come up and just snap
Snap
on the
her.
head and start
Yep.
doing death roll,
Yep.
and that's it. And then Pearl, you just see Pearl, and she's like, "Bitch."
Bitch. Yeah. Okay. This will be my third and final note. Oh, the gator, man. Come on. Really? The gator? Like,
Okay,
okay. Like,
I'll reference. Okay, so then I will give you a little bit better feelings about now,
okay.
and it's the foreshadowing.
Oh yeah, okay. Like I liked seeing the gator. I liked the tension of that. And
Uh-uh.
yeah, okay. So
It's planted well before that, dude.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, when they leave the Bayou Burlesque, you see a copper tone ad replica of a woman in a red bathing suit with a gator coming up and sort of nipping at it. And Bobby Lynn's
Ah,
outfit that
was
day
the
was
red?
a blonde with a
Yeah,
red bathing suit. So it's sort of like a foreshadowing that you wouldn't really ever come to expect. So for me, it's like sort of like cool little notes. It's
okay.
there, and then they do it, and it pays off there. I
Yeah,
no one's really. It's like it's a something that you think about or see later on, and you
yeah,
connect and you realize. So for me, I like it because of that. But I also agree, like it's a letdown. That one bothered me more than the shotgun,
yeah,
as far as wish it was cooler.
yeah. So once again, rationally, okay, it did swim after Maxine. So and Maxine got out at the dock. So if it resettled, it probably settled right there under the dock.
Right,
Because
right,
they like to hang out in the shade. So like rationally, like this makes sense.
yeah.
Um, but
It's just you don't
but
get to see as much cool shit
I don't get to
happening for
see
some.
it.
Right.
It's the same
It's
thing with the shotgun.
nighttime in
It's
the
like yeah,
water.
it was
You
yeah
know,
yeah
it's not shot like Lake Placid where you get to see some cool
yeah
giant gator shit. Yeah.
yeah. It was unfortunate. Once again a missed opportunity in my opinion for a cool death. But once again, these are nitpicks. These are not. This is not taking away from the film for me at all. This is just me
Sure.
going. This is me going. Could have brought it up a little bit.
Right. So,
Anyway, I mean the movie completely pays off anyway, as we're about to
oh,
get to. Yeah.
fuck yeah. So then the two of them, Howard and Pearl, uh, they meet up now at the boarding house, looking for Maxine
Maxine,
because Maxine is who Pearl has this like connection with. The
the
Howard, I think, even
connection.
says, "I got one of them locked up," and I think Pearl's like, "That's not the one that
That's
she
not that's
wanted."
not the one that I want. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
he
so
even mentioned something about Bobby Lynn because I don't think he knows Bobby Lynn is dead. And she says, I don't like blondes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you don't know what it is about needing Maxine or wanting Maxine, what she wants to do, what is
Right.
the purpose of driving them to want to murder the rest of the group, but Maxine has special reverence. You think about
And
the body strung up in the basement.
she's got the X factor,
Right.
which is what Wayne said. Like that's and I think that is also foreshadowing why
Right.
she becomes the final girl, as
And
opposed
that, like, it's also, she sees, Pearl sees herself in
in
Maxine. Like,
Maxine.
she, yeah.
She
Um,
had what Maxine has
yes.
is
And so she's
exactly I
sort
think
of
what they say.
reliving it, through her. She wanted whatever it is. So they meet on the bed, on Maxine's bed. They can't find Maxine anywhere.
Right.
They meet on the bed and they talk, and Pearl's still ready to continue doing what they did, and Howard's hesitant. He said, "What about my
What
heart?"
about my
And
heart?
but she convinces him
Yeah.
to let's do this. We have to do this right
Yeah.
now. And
So
so this is where you get uh you
yeah,
get
he
the sex scene.
yeah he gives her the old bone.
So, and it's
uh,
like,
and so we get the top down again. Ty West
yeah,
really loving the top down in this movie,
yeah,
which is fine.
missionary, old
Yeah,
man ass,
yeah, just
and
plowing.
he's thrusting.
So
And I
we,
mean, it's like everyone in the, like, I imagine, and a lot of people I know that have reacted to this, like, people are uncomfortable with it. They're squirming. They're icked out about it. And so as much as people are aware of the fact that, the ageism, or like you don't want to like dislike or discredit them because they're old and they're incapable or inferred, but you are still grossed out by the sex. Like you don't want to be a dick about seeing them as old, but then when you start to see them having sex and you're like, how are they really doing this? This can't be good for anyone. They're way past the edge that they probably should be doing this,
right,
for sure, without any additional material to make that a palatable experience. There's
yeah.
no way that this is fucking happening
Honestly,
safely or
my only thought in this
comfortably.
sequence is how is this dude even hard? like, like
I
I,
can picture
like
that being
I,
fine, but I'm
I,
like, how is this not sandpaper right now?
well, I get love and attraction and wanting to please your wife, and have sex, a sexual relationship, but at some point in age, biology just gets in
Right.
the way, right?
Yeah, but for
That's
me,
what
for
I'm
me,
saying.
I see hardness not being an issue. I see dryness being the issue, and that being like, there's no fucking way that they get in.
I,
It's gonna
I
move.
maybe maybe she gets gassed up from killing all these people. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
She could have been lubed up for the whole night. Anyway, so
And so here you see the exaggerated pan where you come to the side of the bed shot and you
yeah,
see
the
them having the sex, and now it slowly goes down. And this is sort of like where it made me think of Malignant, how in Malignant there's the intentional warping of scale with the set, where you
right,
see giant rooms inside small house and
yeah,
accentuates the action. And here, like, she's crouching underneath the bed, like, and you know that the bed fucking is this fucking tight. If you're
yeah,
really under this cot and that they're having sex on, like, your probably head is getting pushed into the fucking floor.
yeah,
But whenever she's under it, you see like a lot. So I kind of like how it's like they're not gonna hide it or make it look real. It's like this looks good on film
right,
because she can like emote properly and
yeah.
crawl out properly. So I was like, I kind of like noticing that, like, this isn't a real bed like that, but whatever. So she, like, yeah, she's like sees this as her
So
opportunity to get knocked out.
she like army
Army
crawls
crawls
out
out,
of there, and
hits the doorway on an army crawl. They're both getting into it, and she gets up and she gets the fuck out, runs up
right,
to the house,
runs up to the house, sees the van, with the
looks
lights
for the
on,
keys.
goes for the keys, sees dead RJ.
Oh, you're right. Sees that the knife is in the tire. The tire's
Right,
out,
sees a
so even
bloody
if
knife in the tire, sees dead RJ, goes into the house to get the truck keys.
she grabs the gun from the glove,
She has a
correct?
gun from the glove box. Yep.
Yep. And then she
Um,
goes into the house,
goes into
and
the
or she
house.
hears she hears Lorraine
Lorraine
screaming.
screaming.
So she
Right.
goes in and
Yep.
she sees Lorraine and she
Lorraine
helps
sees her.
Lorraine.
Opens the door for Lorraine.
Lorraine is hysterical.
Right. And blames Maxine for everything.
Yeah,
This is all your
I fucking hate,
you
oh, I hate you, and she's in tears. She's hysterical. She's
screaming
out of her mind, and
and
she's like,
just
no, shh, shh, you gotta be quiet.
yeah.
They're out there. We gotta
We're
figure
yeah.
this out. Like, relax for a fucking minute.
Yeah.
She won't hear any of it, and this happens so quick. She gets her out. They're yelling, 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 yelling.
Yep.
And fucking Lorraine darts for the door.
For the door. As soon as she hits the porch, a shotgun
Boom.
blast, probably I think to the face. Oh, definitely to
Right.
the
Yeah.
face,
Definitely to the face.
because of what we're about to see. Um, and there's a good splatter there, so I have no problem with this gun kill. By the way,
Sure. Because
uh,
of the probably
because
because
of
of
the
the
because
reveal and what's going to happen here.
right. Um, so then they come in and she's there with her gun, right? Did she just start
Right.
shooting, right?
No, no, she
No.
doesn't because what has to happen? I think she's still hiding for
Oh,
a
okay.
second
Because
around the
she
corner.
doesn't have the truck keys yet.
Howard and right, Howard and Pearl. He is trying to bring the body in. He talks about the
Right.
property, how we just have to take rid of it or whatever.
Right. I'll go
And so he's
bring it in the house so it's
bringing it in
self
the house.
defense. So it's self defense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And so he's dragging it in, and he's like, ugh. And then you hear,
Yeah.
and he's like, oh, and he has a heart attack right there,
Right.
and
From her
he's
gurgling, he gets scares him.
gurgling on because you see the close up of her face and her right
Oh.
back,
Oh.
her
It
face is
looked
just
great.
half off,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
the teeth and blood and a
Uh,
little bit of bone, and
I don't
it's
know.
just
Yeah.
so fucked up.
Yeah. And yeah, he has a heart attack right there.
And so
Um.
Pearl then uh, I think Maxine must come around from the corner, and now
Yeah.
she feels like she's got the dropper. She has more confidence because
It's
he's
just the two of them.
dying,
Yeah.
and she's working on him. And she asks Maxine for help, and Maxine's like, "What the fuck are you
Yeah.
talking about? I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Yeah.
You're out of your fucking mind." And this is where she has the gun, and she's got it on her, and
She
she
goes,
goes to
"Where are the
shoot.
truck? Does
Right. She wants well, she
Where
wants
are
the
the
keys.
truck
Yeah. She
keys?"
has,
Yeah. She says they're under the lamp. She grabs the keys, and then I think she just shoots her or tries to shoot her. Like I don't think
tries to
there's
shoot her. Yeah. She
and it
tries to
just
shoot her, and it's just a click.
yeah.
And
So
you think back.
you think back, okay, so the old guy said I don't keep it loaded. He killed two people with the gun,
Right.
and Wayne said he doesn't keep it loaded. He does the same thing, and it wasn't
Yeah.
loaded. And
Yeah. Yeah. It was just a an effect.
yeah,
It's just an empty gun to scare off any would be person.
right.
So yeah, and this is where Pearl has the shotgun now,
Yep.
and
Oh, and so Maxine tries to run, and Pearl takes a shot, and she's so light and held it wrong because she
not
doesn't know
prepared. Yeah.
anything about how to shoot a shotgun. It throws her out the front door off the porch,
like
like a
almost
rag doll.
20 feet. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a fucking long ways.
yeah. And Maxine, because she ran and because once again she doesn't know how to shoot a gun, it just like shoots a lamp off to the side. Um,
Right. Yeah, it is. She shoots the mirror and shit, and you hear Pearl start saying, "Oh, my hip, my hip."
Yeah, yeah. Which is what he Howard said he was afraid
Yeah.
she would
Yeah.
break earlier. So
Right.
he did mention the hip specifically.
The other thing that happened when Howard earlier locked Ryan in the basement, he turns on the TV set and
Right.
he blares the volume so
Blares
that
the
it drones
volume.
out what's Lorraine doing, and it's the preacher again. It's the
It's that
religious
same
uh,
channel.
sermon that he's giving and talking and doing his thing that's been playing, and it's still playing, and even during this whole scene, it's playing in the background.
Yep.
Uh, and the words that are spoken here by Lorraine during the confrontation with her, because there's some things that are exchanged, and all of it isn't is super important. But the thing that was important for me is during this is when I can't remember how she words it, but Lorraine, it's her mantra. I think she says it earlier, and she says it or she at least says it here, where she
Right.
says that uh, I choose to live the life that I
I
deserve to live,
deserve. All right.
that
Yeah.
I deserve to live. It's something to that effect,
Yep.
and that's what causes her to like do her action.
Right.
So she
So.
says that. But yeah, so Pearl's knocked out there, and Lorraine's completely comfortable. She's got the keys to the shit,
Yep.
and she goes on out there, and Pearl starts more or less saying that not
Yeah.
you're not this isn't gonna last. You're gonna
Yeah.
turn out just like me.
Yeah. And she just keeps talking, and
And she says like
Max,
this will be our secret. Like
yeah,
Maxine like looks at her. She's like this will be our secret.
and puts it in reverse and backs over her head. and then
Yeah,
forwards over her head.
yeah,
um,
pretty good effect too.
yep, we go into the
Practical.
yeah, and she gets the call back of this will be our little secret, and we go to the TV, and the preacher is talking about how he lost his daughter to sin, and blah blah blah. And this is a picture of her right here, and it's a picture of Maxine when she was young.
Mm.
Which when that happened, I had a flash of her recognizing the TV programming from the
Yeah,
gas station, and I didn't catch it when I saw it the first time, but I remembered it when I saw it
yeah,
at the end of the movie.
right.
Um, and
So
she drives
she
away
gets
into
out of there.
the
She's
yeah,
driving away into the what will be sunrise,
yep.
and then it you see the I think the reveal with the church thing might be in the morning when the sheriff is there again.
Oh,
Doesn't
I
really
guess that.
matter.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's
It could
possible.
be.
Yeah, I might have
It
jumped the
doesn't
gun.
really matter. It doesn't really matter because that happens and that still means that like you see it and
Right.
you. And the other thing too is the preacher. The other relevance to what Lorraine what Maxine is saying, that mantra,
Oh,
choosing to
right. The
live life.
preacher says
The
that. Yeah,
preacher is saying that,
yeah,
and it's sort of like we'll get into the subtext of all that and how it's just neat, nice, and good storytelling or good writing, just depth, and so yeah, the sheriffs arrive the next day, and so seemingly, I would imagine what you don't see and what's unspoken, what we could debate, I guess, is that Maxine escapes and she must alert the authorities that this
right.
has occurred because it doesn't really make any sense why they would just up on property that's what miles within from the road,
Yeah. Well, she didn't do anything wrong. She probably drives
Right.
straight to the cops. Like there
Aside
was yeah.
from the cocaine, that I think she took one last bump somewhere
Oh yeah, she does
during
it.
it.
She does it while she's driving. Yeah.
Right. Because she probably, still tired as shit. It's the middle of the night.
Yep.
Um,
And
so the next day, you see again where the cops were they're coming out of the house now because they've already seen all the shot of the sheriff seeing the bodies and then seeing the
right.
basement. He's now coming out of the house, and one deputy is like, "What do you think happened, sheriff?"
Oh well,
He's
hold
like,
on. They find the camera first. So someone
I
brings
don't
the
think
camera.
they find the camera first. The deputy asks him first, "What do you think happened?" He's like, "How the fuck do I know? Or how am I supposed?"
Yeah.
He like it's just like you expect like that's like a normal line, and you expect like the sheriff is supposed to say something. He has no fucking clue. Like
Right.
he just showed up. So then yeah, the other guy camera. Look what they had this camera. What do you think's on it?
What do you think they were shooting?
Yeah.
And he says,
He's like, yeah, I don't know, one goddamn fucked up horror picture
yeah,
by the looks of it.
yeah, yeah. It's a great line. Was it on an actual movie poster, or was it just on the thing you made?
Yeah, just on the thing that I made.
Oh, that's awesome. That's brilliant then. Yeah. Because I already thought it was real. All right, cool. Yeah, sweet. Go. Yeah, it's awesome. Is it a
I
shirt?
think that I saw that A24. Um,
Okay.
yeah, it
Yeah.
just froze out for a second.
Oh, okay. All right. Um. Okay. So, this was a tough one to score.
Yeah, I know.
Um.
So, like, that's the thing about it. When you reflect on it, there's so many elements to it that seem like it's respectful, it's an homage, it is well shot, it all works, and it evokes a lot of feelings, and especially from people that are fans of horror.
Yeah.
Um, but it not necessarily groundbreaking, but sort of some of the
Yeah.
self-referential type things and how it's intentionally done a certain way is still, a well-crafted direction.
Oh
So you
yeah.
have to
Loved the
acknowledge that.
loved the cast. I think the cast was probably like the best part. Um,
Hmm.
everybody crushed their roles. I mean, Wayne, like I don't even know who that actor is. Like
Yeah, I've never seen him before. He was
he
awesome.
was awesome. Brittany Snow was a shock just to be cast in a horror movie. Let alone her performance was excellent.
Right. Oh, so
Um,
and then Mia Goth, and that's the other thing we didn't talk about it at all during the film. Mia Goth plays Pearl in old age makeup throughout the whole film.
oh,
She played,
really?
yeah, she plays Pearl in
Oh, I
this
didn't
film.
even know she played Pearl.
Yeah, yeah, she was Pearl the whole time.
She was Pearl the whole time. Is that, and that's why, okay. Well,
So
that makes,
that's why the
oh, that's
post
even,
credit
oh my
scene
God, that's crazy.
and the idea of like how if you're led to believe that Pearl sees herself as a younger version, like it's
Right.
because you could say, well, yeah, because it is her if she were older.
Yeah. Oh, that's insane. I didn't know that. See,
Yeah,
that's
really cool.
that's why I don't watch trailers.
Yeah, yeah.
uh, okay. So if
So
so,
rating it, how you would
all
score it.
right, all
You
right.
love the
So
cast.
I loved the cast. I loved the kills except for the two. The dialogue hilarious, like comedy that is not written to be funny, but is naturally funny because of how a
Hmm.
conversation just unfolds. Um, great story, super creepy, old couple killing people. It's all sexually charged. I would love to give this movie an 8.5, but I don't want to give out point fives, right?
Yeah,
So this is where I landed. I have to give it an 8 because if I gave point fives, it would get an 8.5, but I don't. So I give X an 8, a solid 8, just a fantastic movie. I'm gonna watch it at least one or two more times, probably this year.
yeah.
Um, Showing people this film. Go see it in theaters, absolutely. What do you think, Rod?
I think I'm at the same spot. There's After sitting with it, the more I think about it, the more that I come to appreciate about what it's doing. And whenever I've been on certain on Reddit, looking at how some people have been responding, and I've been kind of chiming in on conversations, and it's fun to discuss. Like when someone is unaware of how to a certain part of the film, what I can see and how I can kind of mention certain things. I enjoy doing that part. And so like I think someone was asking about the whole idea of religion, that they felt slighted because religion was tacked on, and it's always like this, oh, bad, and it's like you can't watch a movie as a make fun,
Oh,
put it on blast. And
lost that whole sentence.
so what I was saying is that this person thought that horror in general, when it deals with religion, is always trying to make it cast in a bad light.
Oh, sure.
And so that they didn't get why that was included, what was the necessity of it. And for me it's like, well, there's so much going on with that storyline, with Maya's origin, where she came from, what it comes to pass by the end of it, uh her using those words from the sermon that she watched her father do.
Hmm.
So how a person of faith sees those words as one way, a person of Maya's rationale seeing it a different way, but it means the same thing. It's just how you interpret, what it means for you. The fact that he's sort of the star of his congregation, what he's doing, and she wants to become the star of what she wants to do. Like, there's so many parallels and interesting chew about that. Uh, that's what makes this kind of stuff fun. And so for me, all of those things make it a more interesting film, but I can't raise it above an 8 for myself because I just don't feel that excitement and joy and pleasure from watching it that I do with, because it's like it vibes with me. I'm like in a I just like feeling those feels. And while I think that this film is probably built or crafted stronger than something like Come True, it just doesn't hit it for me. And so if I'm saying for myself, I would objectively give it with the way that I can see it and the way I feel about it. And to your point, the point five is probably merited, but it's not something that I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So I'd probably rest rating at the same point score for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So to beyond the score, the fun factor for me. So remember when we did our best of 2021,
Yeah.
I gave Halloween Kills the fifth slot, and
Right.
I said that it would be in last place if we did a top 10. It just has to be on the list.
Right.
Um, I feel like X is probably going to take that slot for me in 2022. If we do a
Mm-hmm.
top 10, it's going to be in the 10th slot. If we do a top 5, it's going to be in the 5 slot. It is definitely going to be one of the best horror movies of the year.
Yeah.
But is it going to be better than all of the stuff that's going to make me feel?
Right.
Uh, Probably not. But does it still deserve to be on the list? Probably. Like
Yes.
once again, we're not even in April yet, so there's still a lot of movies to watch. But um, I think X will make the list.
Yeah. There's a ton to unpack in it, and like the homages and everything. The psycho stuff, flipping awesome. The other one that was cool, the other foreshadowing, and I noticed this one because it was in the trailer a lot. At Wayne, when Wayne looks at the footage with RJ upstairs when he says the "grab my cock" scene,
Yeah.
he's like, "When people see this, their eyes are gonna pop out of their head."
Yeah, that
How
is.
great is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's it's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
No. The writing was excellent. Like
Yeah.
Ty West knew what he was doing, knew the
Yeah.
kind of movie he wanted to make. Obviously has a huge background in horror, or
Yeah.
had the greatest like referential horror writing team. Like,
Hmm.
I want the guys who have seen it all in the room with me when we put this thing out.
Yeah, and
Um,
some people like even using the term slow burn in relationship. It's like I'd never felt that way about it. I mean, it does take time for things to build to the where the kills start happening because does happen closer to like this three-quarters of a movie and not necessarily half. So in that way, you can call it a slow burn, but like slow burn really evokes more like emotional, meditative, brooding of
yeah,
events that aren't entertaining to watch the whole time, or it's more about landscape and
yeah,
experience. And this had entertaining shit from start to finish.
yeah. I couldn't
So
call this a slow burn because
no,
I was engaged and I was laughing and I was loving the characters the whole time.
yeah,
I was
right.
interested. I was trying to figure it out
A slow
because
burn is traditionally, you're contemplative during all of it
during all of
in a
it,
thoughtful way
and
that
even
then by the end you're like blown away with something that's going to
yeah,
happen and everything.
yeah, and even if the
This doesn't
horror
have that.
doesn't come till the end, you're still tense the whole time, or
Right.
even if
And
it's
the
not
final twist
big,
is
you're
gonna hit you like a gut
yeah,
shot.
yeah.
This. So I feel like that term's misused when people consider it I that it is slow burn. It is methodical but it's not slow,
Yeah,
and it's not. I don't think that that's the right way to characterize.
yeah. I would definitely not call this movie a slow burn.
Yeah.
Not at all. Okay. Well, at the 2 hour and 32 minute mark,
Christ.
I think we will say that both of these movies are definitely worth watching.
Hmm.
Once again, go to theaters. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Um, Next week, we're going to bring Studio 666 to the pod. We haven't quite picked our second movie yet, but if you follow us on Twitter, you'll see the splash screen eventually.
Hmm.
Um, any closing remarks, Rod?
I would say I believe that later tonight, Ty West is doing did an interview or is going to be doing an interview with a guy. Shit, I can't remember the name of the dude that's going to be doing it. But it is going to be out where he's going to be discussing the film a little bit. I know that they did it already. Also, they have already shot, canned, and I think are in or have completed post production for a prequel to this, which was in the post credits of this film
Right,
for
the
Pearl.
Pearl trailer where
The
Mia
origin
Goth
story
plays
plays
Pearl.
Pearl. So be on lookout for that. It'll be a lot of fun. The only other thing I'd add, just the Etsy shop that we have with has different posters and tees related to this. We have a Save 10.
Lost that whole sentence.
It's fine. Uh, all the different tees and shirts that I designed that are related to Washington.
what's
The
what's
Cadrora.
what's the name
This
of
is
the
the one from
store?
Night House.
What's the
The Alberta neck tees. So Albertinectes is a dinosaur, but Tees is not TES, it's TEES. It's on Etsy. It's a
All right.
dinosaur. It's a kid
Okay.
thing. My kids love dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs.
Yeah, you got your
Anyway,
you're wearing your Night House
my
shirt.
Night House shirt.
Yeah,
Uh, and so 10%, use the promo code SAVE10
yeah.
till the end of the month if you happen to see this
I'm wearing
in
my
time.
I'm wearing my my Laura
Laura
Palmer.
Palmer.
Yeah,
Yep.
the my Twin Peaks shirt.
So looking forward to next week, having a little fun with something heavy comedy or with some cool rock music, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah, and actually next week Dave Grohl releases the metal album of the fake band from the movie. So
Cool.
that'll be a nice tie-in.
All right.
All right, episode 14 in the can for the podcast for the recently deceased. I'm Nate Roberts,
I'm Rodney Godek. Take care.
and we'll see you next week.